quick intro.
No worries.
So let's see. Should be live here. What is up, everybody? I see Mick in the chat already. Jody, Cam Jam, Jacob, how's it going in the Flesh Aquatics? What's up? 310. Glad you made it out. Man, we're gonna have to hop right into this one. Scotty's been begging me for a Killifish stream for like 6 months. So I'm happy to finally bring a true Killifish degenerate on here with me. But everyone, I'd like you to meet Mr. Matthew Weeks. I feel like I hear applause sounds in my head, but yes.
I'll
there you go. Come on, applause yourself. So I did write an extensive intro. If you guys check the description, so I won't make you repeat all that. Sometimes people ask me like, do you chat GPT that? And if not, why do you spend so much time writing the description? I'm like, look, I don't know. Let's try and put some effort for this. But tell the people about yourself as if they didn't read that in like a couple sentences. You know, hi, my name is.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Matthew. I've been keeping fish since I was about 12 now. I really fell into the Killifish rabbit hole around kind of end of COVID. I saw a pair of Fundulipanchax gardneri in one of my store's tanks. Got
Classic.
those. And then tried to search around for more Killifish, and then it turns out they're not very around. So I kept getting more and more involved in like fish clubs and stuff like that. And then like 2023, I really jumped into the Killifish rabbit hole of like soil spawners. I've done some other plant spawners and stuff, but like right now my main specialty is Nothos, so Nothobranchius. I think I've bred about 10 to 12 species at this point.
Nice.
I have some other weirder soil spawners that we could talk about too. But yeah, like I've been doing this for a while. I worked in a fish lab in college. I currently work in an aquatic conservation facility, so head starting rare and endangered species for native California.
Nice.
So I live it, I breathe it. My days are filled with water, and water changes. So
perfect.
Nice to be here.
Okay, team water changes. That knocks out a whole hour of conversation right there. Water changes versus no water changes. That's like what the
I have
they just keep talking about. People keep cause I saw Rebecca's video on it. I talked about that on stream, how people responded to that. I was like, man, after all these years, people can't agree on water changes, like of all things.
Yeah, my thing with water changes is it heavily depends on like the fish. So with a lot of Nothobranchius and annuals, their growth rate's basically dependent on the amount of water changes you do.
Yeah.
There's a guy I think he's in Thailand or Indonesia. He's in some of the Killifish groups. And he frequently like hatches out Rackavai and raises them to full adulthood in 2 weeks because he does 50% water changes every day, feeds them 5 times a day, and has them in like 78, 80 degree water. So
wow,
you can use water changes to your advantage. I had beta chinoides, didn't water change them at all, had 100 fry in a 5-gallon, and they wouldn't stop breeding.
Love that fish.
I recently gave them all away, and then they spit another 100 fry, so I still have chinoides.
That's me with better rubra. That's with me. I'm trying to keep my Albumarginata, but I'm trying to get rid of my rubra, and I keep finding more of them.
Yeah, those things will spawn an 8 pH and massive levels of TDS.
I see we already got a first question. By the way, feel free to ask questions throughout, but someone said, wait, is this Weeks like from the Fish for Thought Discord? For your Discord famous?
We're not gonna address that.
Okay. That's crazy.
I'm surprised. It's been a bit since I've been in Fish for Thought. So I'm.
Look, man,
I
got the right guy on here. Let's go.
We're good. That was a different time. The allegations were false.
Listen, man, we seen what happens on Discord is crazy. I tried to talk about the beta poaching thing on here before, and it was all sorts of hectic drama and stuff. So yeah, Discord's another level.
I actually know I know Sai Krishna personally, like he's my good friend, so it's always fun because he's like, yeah, I'd like know the people involved with this very intimately, and he's just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
So we'll both be on that list together forever.
there we go. So, listen, I feel like with killifish, there's a lot of ways. What I like about them, there's so many different ones, very different places in the world, different looks. So, kind of everyone that's into killifish, there's also different kinds of killifish people. They're just as like diverse as the fish themselves, and I feel like those into the substrate spawners are definitely a very specific type of person. So like what do you think draws you to getting the eggs out the substrate? I'm drying them out versus like let me get the mops going. Let's do this non-annual thing. Like what got you into that
Sure.
mode? You started with the gardener eye, but then you got to this. You ended
Yeah.
up in substrate. So how did that happen?
So I think the main interest is like, so when I was in college, my main like interest in biology was sexual development, reproduction, and like life cycle sciences in terms of that. So like that's kind of why I'm doing my current career of captive propagation. So like the weirder the life cycle, the more in tune that I can get and interested. So I remember, I think it was like yeah, it was 2023. I uh I was finishing up. I was working at some fish stores, and then I just like kind of left that industry and started working in the conservation field. And I was like browsing Aquabid, and I was like, because I was looking at killifish, I was like, oh man, these are cool. Like, and I've heard everybody's heard. Well, not everybody, but like Nothobranchius are kind of like a name. You're like, oh, those things only live 2 weeks.
Yep.
They die really fast. And there's some misconceptions we can address about that later. But it's like I look, you see these pictures and you're like, that's a really cool fish. Like, why aren't more people keeping them up? Let's give them a try. So like, I think the person I first got, so my first species of Nothobranchius I got was Nothobranchius courthousii.
Okay.
And I purchased a bag of eggs from Mike Epperson in the AKA.
Nice.
Great guy, braids tons of blue Galaris. If you want blue Galaris, he's your guy. So I got like, and it's funny because when you first get it, you're like, yeah, this is a bag of dirt. That's cool. There's fish in here. So I waited for the day that you wet it. So you put it all in, you wet it. Um, and if nobody's hatched Nothos before, I strongly recommend it, not just because I'm biased, but because it's just the most bizarre thing in the world. Like you can open the bag, you can see the eggs. The fish are looking at you. If you look at them under a microscope, you can see them move inside the egg.
The fish are looking at you.
Um,
It's
yeah,
kind of
like it's
scary.
called eyed up. So there's a whole you might know this phrase as a
Yeah.
some killifish, but it's like the eyed up phase, and you're like, oh, it's staring at you, and it'll move, and you put them in water, and like 20 minutes, the first ones start hatching, like coming out. And I remember like I did it, left it overnight, and there were hundreds in the morning, and I was like, holy moly, this is the coolest thing ever.
Wow.
So kind of from there, I started like reading more of the Carthousai. I was doing a lot of stuff with that. And then from there, it kind of just spiraled. I was like, oh, what else can I do? I was like, Rackavai, oh, this is cool. Eggersai. Terrible luck with Eggersai, so we don't talk about those.
Okay. Okay.
But like, then there's 100. I think right now at the moment there's over 100 recognized species of Nothobranchius, which is insane for a genus. Like that's
That's a lot.
huge.
Also, like we
In
saw
addition,
how many fish are usually described each year. It's not really that many. Like
yeah,
freshwater fish, like 100 of just those is kind of crazy.
for
Also,
sure.
I can hear you. I'm
Yeah.
just turning off my hose real quick. Sorry.
No, you're good. But so like I mean, last year was I think Bellanage described 5 or 6 new species of Nothobranchius, just because they're all over and they're so speciated. But yeah, like the interest is like you get weird. It's just like such a weird lifestyle that's evolved twice. Like it's evolved in South America and it's evolved in Africa. I actually worked with a professor at UCSF who studies the evolution of diapause in annual killifish. And it's always funny because he'll text me. He's like, "Oh, how do you do this? Like, I can't get these hatch. I can't get these to go." So I'll give him advice. But
That's cool.
it's such like a really weird and fascinating aspect to it. And then the fish are beautiful. Like you can Like if these fish were brown and gray, I'd still probably be doing it simply because of the life cycle being such a fascination to me.
Right.
But like you get Corthousii, which are this dark brick red. You get Rackovi, which are orange, blue, and black. You get my personal favorite right now is Durami, which is blue and red. So it's like
Okay.
this deep red on the top, bright blue body with like red stripes. So they're super pretty. And you can trade these so easily. Like, oh, I'll send a bag. Like I'm sending out a couple bags of
Yeah.
peat this tomorrow.
And I
So
saw I peeped you. I think you made a few Aquabid listings recently.
I did before you want to talk about that.
Before, well, Aquabid is probably not relevant to any one fish group more than the Killifish people. I feel like Aquabid is consistently the best place in the U.S. to get random killies.
100%. And that's kind of why it's interesting. I mean, I've checked today. It's back. People are coming back. I purchased a lot of fish from Tyrone Janade, who's a
Yep.
killifish professor out at University of Tennessee, or not University of Tennessee, but it's a university in Tennessee. But he does a lot of nothos. He studies aging, and that's where I've gotten most of my fish from him, and that's where I've started those connections. So like, I would say like it wouldn't be a stretch to say Aquabid started my annual killie hobby by forming those connections.
Wow.
Because if you go to AKA events, they're, you know, Aphosimian, tons of Gardneri.
Yeah.
You can get some weird ones.
It's a lot of
But
the annuals tend to be kind of the same ones too. Like, like
yeah, you kind of get the standard three,
the Greenwater
which will
Farms
be
specials. Like,
yeah, which will be the red egger's eye. You'll get the rack of eye. You might get some foreshy. You might get you get Guntherite. Guntherite are everywhere. Like I have another fish I can't seem to get rid of for the life of me is Guntherite. But yeah, it's such a like there's so many, and then there's so many misconceptions that you learn about them. It's like, oh, they only live 6 months. It's like, yeah, no. There's one species that has been bred in captivity to only live 6 months for aging studies, and people talk about that a lot, which is Nothobranchius
oh,
frisere,
okay.
which if you want to keep that fish, it's not very fun from the Notho standpoint. It gets big, it's very aggressive, it's not very colorful. They live and die in 6 months if you get the lab strain. If you can get a wild type, it's cool. They're just not available.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what would you say then is the average non-lab made in a lab strain life cycle?
So we'll have to split them into South American and Nothobranchius, and I can talk about both. But if you're looking for a fish like the beginner fish that lives longer than a year, it'll be Nothobranchius corthousii or Nothobranchius guntheri.
Okay.
The other ones kind of tend to be a bit bizarre. Like Durhami, it has an incubation period. The eggs dry phase is like 2-3 months. I've had eggs be ready to hatch in a month, and then they
Nice.
live like 6 to 8 months, and then it's just like so fast.
Okay.
So it depends on a lot of factors like water temperature. Water temperature is the biggest one,
Okay.
I would say, is what you're concerned with. If you're keeping your nothos at above 77, a year is going to be an absolute max, and that's going to be like a miracle. I think I think I gave a bunch of Nothobranchius guntheri to Ezzy Aquatics. She does mud skippers. I'm sure you've heard of her.
Mm-hmm.
She's on TikTok everywhere. But I gave her a bunch of guntheri, and I think her female just died at like a year and 2 months. So they can go for a pretty decent time. Some don't. In terms of the South American annuals, 10 months, great.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect a year out of any of your South American
Is this
annuals.
even like a lower 70s situation? Like, still, you would say?
Yeah, so
like the Australibius and stuff like that?
Australibius is a very they grow faster, they live faster, they breed faster.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's necessarily per se like an evolutionary adaptation or just something that happens. They technically come from a lot cooler waters, so if you're keeping a fish that's normally at 65,
Mm,
pardon me, to 68 degrees and it's kind of in the high 70s, it'll grow really fast, but it'll kind of reach the end of its lifespan really fast. I have
yeah.
some really old Argalebius negripinus right now, and they basically just become decrepit. Like they behave
Okay.
fine,
Okay. Cause
but they just get weird.
I have some the South Americans. I got the feather fins and I got the Nigroprinis, and they were kind of a decent size when I got them. So I was kind of feeling bad. It's been like 5-6 months, and I'm like, man, they're not looking that good. But from what you're saying, it kind of makes
They're
sense that
no, that's pretty accurate. So I will
okay,
say
okay,
the feather fins are a weird one, just because nobody's breeding them because of the stipulations with. Well, people are breeding them, but nobody's going out of their way except one person on Aquabid to be like, I'm breeding Brazilian killifish that are
yeah,
illegal by the U.S. government.
yeah,
But those ones, I have heard rumors of those ones going 2 years.
okay,
Um, I personally haven't kept them. The lab I work with keeps them, and if I really wanted some, he could give me some. But he's having issue with hatching those eggs, so they just tend to
yeah.
be a bit weirder. But yeah,
I had
six
fry
months if
hatch,
it's a
but
big fish.
I lost the fry, but I did have some of the feather fins hatch and
Yeah,
a lot of belly
if you
sliders.
get 6 months out of a fish you got that's like an inch or two, that's phenomenal.
Okay, okay, there you go. By the way, you know, they're saying you lied to me in the chat. Crocodilusnaloticus 4389 says his is that Joseph Weeks? His name is Joseph. I said he lied to me. He said he sure did. What a villain. And
Tell
Featherfin
Croc that I don't know. I don't have anything to say. Hi, Croc. How are you doing? You doing anything today?
Featherfin was very not creepy. He said, so that's what he looks like. It's like he's been trying to find you for months or something.
I literally have a Facebook that people like I know, like I could name drop Croc. I won't dock them, but he found me on Facebook.
Oh, see, he's a villain. He's already sending out threats. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Listen, the killifish lifespan, the life cycle thing, that's one aspect. What about the colors? You said if they're brown and stuff, you'd be like, ah, it's the same thing. But do you have like a preference? Because for me, I like the blue and red killies a lot. Is there like a color
yeah.
pattern you like to gravitate
I think
towards?
I think the main interest in Killies is that. So like, what's an example? There's um there's a lot of fish groups that either all have similar body plans and vastly different colors, or like, well, that seems to be like a common, like, take North American shiners, like they all have the same body plan but they all can vary widely in terms of colors. Killifish is a really weird term because it's not a specific family of fish. Like,
Yeah.
there's been hit or miss. Like, rice fish used to be classified as killifish because they're egg laying,
Yeah.
plant spawning fish. um but in terms of like the colors you can get a super colorful blue, you can get this brilliant black, you can get like a kind of mottled red. Like I have, um, so like the fish I have right now, I have a couple rivulus species, um, which I got these wild caught from my friend, and so my friend went to Peru with empty Amazons, and he's like, "What kind of fish do you want?" I'm like, "Find me some killifish."
Nice.
So he got me some Rivulus ruberlineatus, which I believe they might be something else, but they come in brown. Like, they're brown, they don't do much, um, but they develop this bright purple and orange stripes as they age,
Okay.
and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's
That's
that.
sick.
So there are a lot of colors. Like, if I was to choose my favorite killifish at the moment, I just got a pair of Matalabius alexandri.
Okay.
Um, if anybody wants to look up what that fish looks like, it's gorgeous. It looks like it has the fins of Nigropinis, so like those black with blue dots, but it's got a bright blue-green body with black bars.
Okay. I'm gonna throw a
Um,
photo up.
Yeah, and they're super pretty. Those are recently imported, or not imported. Those are F1s from the Uruguay trip that came in
Nice.
last
It is
October.
a cool looking fish for sure. It is a cool looking
So
fish.
that one's really nice. Nothobranchius flammacomantis is a really pretty one. It's got a red base, or I can't remember. It's got red, blue, and orange, and the anal fin has flame-like filaments on it that
Nice.
protrude out. Um, so if you like, my kind of recommendation for people to keep killifish is there's a killifish out there for you. Like, you want green, we could work with that. You want blue, we can work with that. You want
Right.
red, we can work with that. You want boring browns, I got you.
You want
Like,
boring?
I have
That's how
you.
I feel about
Like,
like the live bearer people. There are some pretty ones, but a lot of like the cares live bearers, I'm like ugly, ugly,
yeah, like, I
ugly.
mean,
Okay.
there's
Oh,
some.
oh, I see it. I kind of see it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's ugly.
I personally, I like the Goodeids. The Goodeids are nice. Um, some of the more, like, I know there's some people in some discords who are really into the Gambusia, and I'm like, I can't get into it. I'm sorry, it's just a boring gray fish.
Also, I don't like
Um,
mean fish too. Like the Zenatoka Dodori I had
oh,
for a while, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like
yeah,
you're
they're just smacking each other.
I'm like, you gotta be in danger. That maybe you earned this. I can't do it.
Those ones I think are doing pretty well, ironically.
Yeah, I'm in an
The
area where a lot of people breed all those like good aids, so I'm kind of spoiled. Like I see a lot of them all the time, so I think I also take them for granted. But they're cool.
other,
But you gotta be
I get a
nice.
couple of. Yeah, they're not nice fish.
So when does this come into your job path, your education? Because you're keeping fish for a while. The killifish seems like
Sure.
it came a little bit after maybe you started studying this kind of thing for work. So what led you to go professional with it?
Sure. So, like, as a, it's funny. I always tell this story. So right now, I work with native California amphibians. So um, I do, and then when I was in fifth grade, maybe earlier, like third grade. Have you ever had those school, like, elementary books where you all write a book as a class?
Okay.
Um, it was something they did in California. But I have a page in there that says, I'm going to be a frog biologist when I grow up. And it's like talking about all
Hey.
this. And it's it's the most horrible foreshadowing I could have ever given myself.
What?
Because then this came up. Well, I'm like, so to be fair, I'm a fish guy working with amphibians.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but I mean, it started in like early years, like elementary school, middle school. I spent breeding live bears. I have more experience breeding live bears than I do killifish, technically. Like, I have 8 years of live bears, if
Wow.
we want to count that. So, like, it started when I was a kid. It went through high school, took a break in college, revitalized in college. Like, I came in, so I went to CU Boulder. Um, I went in undeclared, and then the second week of school, I went to the admissions office and I'm like, sign me up for biology. Like, I knew I was gonna do that in the first place. So, I mean, I was going around talking to different labs. There was a limnology lab on campus that I chatted with. I ended up working for a fish genetics lab on
Okay.
my undergrad, where we did developmental biology of catfish, so Rebecca would have loved that.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
but we worked on stuff like that. So it's been a strong part of who I was forever. And then when I graduated college in the middle of COVID, everything was all up in the air. So who knew what was happening? I was
Right.
originally planning on going into grad school, but the professor I was working for said, "Oh, you're no longer allowed in the lab. Sorry." And I was like, "Oh, what?"
Whoa.
So
right.
because nobody was allowed
Right. 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 Because yeah,
in on
pandemic.
these things because of,
Damn.
like, pandemic rules. So I was like, "Oh, shoot, what am
No
I doing?"
lab. No
So,
lab.
like, I applied for a fish store close to where I lived, which was one of the older stores. Funnily enough, it's a block down from Aqua Imports, which is a common name everybody would know.
Nice.
Um, so I started working at that store out of college, and that kind of just fueled the I'm interested in fish. I like fish. I'm gonna keep doing fish. So I worked there for a bit. That's a whole saga. We don't have enough time to talk about those
Well,
fish
I was gonna
stores.
say, that maybe not the fish store specifically, but I always find it fascinating to talk to people that like, especially there's some aquaculture stuff and things with you. Like they have like this broader, more technical understanding of some of the things we're doing as a hobby. So I was
Sure.
kind of interested between working in a store and working, in a more technical setting. Like, what what is the big differences between someone who's like a hobbyist, but also you got the science thing, and dealing with someone who doesn't understand any of that? Like, are we all working on the similar playing field, or are there some things that one side is missing versus the others more commonly?
No, it's a lot of the times it's just that classic academia split where you're like, the funny thing is, like, so I started in the kind of hobby industry and worked my way more into the professional side of things. And while you're kind of like what you're doing on paper tends to go up, a lot of it stays the same. So like the equipment I'm working with now is less advanced than the equipment I was working with in fish stores.
Wow.
Um, like
That's crazy.
like the I would say the techniques build on everything. So like water changes, know how to do water changes, that's always going to be a thing. Like knowing how your water interacts with stuff, like that's the main thing. Like when I was
Okay.
doing stores, you're like, the only really thing that changes is like regulations. So like when you're working with stores and you have fish die, you're like, all right, that shipment went bad. Oh
Yeah.
no. You don't have to, you're not writing to Fish and Wildlife a distinct letter about, oh, this is what happened. This is why it happened.
You
This
don't
is
have to
how it
explain.
happened.
You don't have to
This is,
explain yourself. Like, that's crazy to think
yeah.
about.
So like a lot of those things are kind of what changes from those two fields. Um, like I remember some of these fish stores, they're like, oh, we ordered 10,000 or like 500 pygmy cories straight from Colombia. I can't remember this city, and they all died overnight. You're like, all right, throw them away, file a tax like tax claim on it. And as it like the difference is when you're working with these animals where you're like same canister filter. Like I use canister filters. I use so many different canister filters. I use Aquatop canister
Okay.
filters. Um,
I love
I
filter.
wouldn't
Filter
use
talk is
those.
great.
Yeah, I wouldn't use those in a store that I was running. I would be like, I'm using sumps. I'm changing everything. Like,
Okay.
so
Okay.
there's just this. Sometimes people like to pretend that the more advanced you get, the more advanced your stuff is. But it's like, I don't know. There's not really that present.
Okay.
Especially because I work with the majority of herpetologists, and herpetologists don't understand water at all. This
I
is a
mean,
common sentiment
at first
with
I'd
herpetologists.
be like, huh, that's kind of weird. But I've started to get to know more like dart frog people and stuff, and water's not as involved with a lot of these frogs, like as much involved as I would think before I got into this. I'm like, oh, frogs, they swim around in water. Like, oh, no, the frog could drown in that. I'm like, what?
Yeah, dart frogs are. I know a couple dart frog keepers. They're like, yeah, they're just dumb. I'm like, okay, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't feed them too big. Like, you have to raise them on springtails for a while, otherwise they like drown and fall into water. But yeah, like I mean, a lot of the time, like when I came in, I was like, oh, this is how you're doing your water filtration. Do I have some recommendations?
Okay.
Um, so it's funny in that aspect where you're like when I was working in a fish store, I could get access to a bunch of different filters. Now I have access to canister filters, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to make it work, sort
Right.
of thing. Especially in the scientific field these days, where you're like, oh, is our funding coming from here? Where's our funding coming from exactly? So you kind of have to make do, but the difference is really not as big of a thing as people make it. Like I would say it's kind of just like if you ever talk to PhDs about what they do, they like to use a lot of big words.
Right.
Um, I guess I can use an example without using specifics. I know somebody who's a postdoctoral researcher researching some salamander life cycles,
Okay.
and you're like, oh, PhD, that's super impressive, and she's amazing, she's brilliant. They just use 300-gallon stock tubs without anything, and like just water and no filters, and they're like, yeah, they do great.
Hmm.
Like the
Keep it simple, I
it's
guess.
not as rocket science as you think it'll be when the
Right.
more you involved you
Well,
get.
I'm starting to realize that a little because one thing we do on stream here, I'm starting to call it research reads. And I just pick some research paper and I read them out loud. And obviously, I don't understand a lot in it, but sometimes it's like, okay, so this one is like they're testing Northos and these different spawning setups, and it's like, okay, they set up like 12 ponds, they put them outside. And that paper always gets to the point where they euthanize all the fish. That's always the funniest part. It's like you read,
Yeah,
you read
you're
through like
like
all
you
these. It's just like what's it? It's like fish were all slaughtered and
you humanely slaughtered through the use of MS-22 by overdose, and you're like, yeah, sounds good.
also we got. Let me catch up with the chat a little bit because
Yeah, sure, of
a couple people had some questions and a couple people
course.
seemed just to be joking around. It's kind of funny. So one question is from Mick. Says, question for Matthew: have you been on any collection trips? If so, where? Are you interested in going to Tanzania? I have a friend there. He took Kural K on a trip.
Yeah. Um, to both of those queries. Um, I have been, so in terms of collecting trips, I'm still rather new. I've done a lot more of the hobby stuff. My first collecting trip was, well, I technically did two, but the second one was in Texas, and it kind of sucked because we didn't catch anything, so it was kind of just
Damn.
chilling. But the first one I went to, so my first convention was the 2024 AKA convention, which was phenomenal. Great time. But I went collecting in Ocala National Forest with Ken Normandin and some other big killifish names. So that was my like premier collecting experience. I have gotten offer my friend Will Musht. He is the chairman of the Fundalid working group. If you guys are interested in fundulists, check them out. They're awesome. Both he and Jackson, I think Jackson works for Conservation Fisheries, which is
Okay.
a super awesome company that does native fish conservation, but they specialize in fundulists. So great. But he has asked me if I'm interested in like a Cameroon trip next year, and I'm like, sign me up. Let's go to
That's the place.
Africa.
Yo, that's the place to go, man. When I was first getting into the killifish, I was just like, I remember just look. I would go through the AKA species thing, and I just look up where they're from. Like, God damn it, Cameroon again? Like Cameroon again? Like all the ones I like are from Cameroon. Like
No,
the
there's
Galaris, the
the
Percatopus,
Galaris.
everything is over there. Like,
No, and this trip is supposed to, there's a 2027 trip, and it's supposed to be the trip to renew the blue Galaris and Cribianus bloodlines in the U.S. because they haven't been
ooh,
collected.
mm,
A lot of scientists actually think Cribianus might be extinct in the wild.
okay.
So some of these,
Cribianus is
they call it sometimes people call it the orange Galaris,
okay.
Fundulopanchax cribianus.
Oh,
Gorgeous
yeah,
fish,
yeah, yeah. I'm not used to hearing these names out loud, so I know what you're talking about now.
right?
Yep,
We're all just typing it online, and then
yep.
you're like, how do you pronounce this?
No, that's a very cool looking fish, and if I remember correctly too, it kind of has that like more. It kind of reminds me of the Calopanchex in the way that its body is like. It just seems like it's got that girth to it, but it's not super long at the same. You know, like the
You're the
Galar.
first person that's ever said that, because nobody ever knows what Calopanchax even is.
We did look. I've been doing a little killifish research. We did a whole read through of all. It was like one of the books of like old world killifish. It was. I remember getting the Calopanchex and I had heard of them. And I think I talked to you in the Discord some about how ridiculously long the incubation is, but
Yeah,
it's
I have.
crazy what they like. Their bodies are like giant torpedoes. Like no one's heard of
I
these, but they look
wish I
awesome.
could show you mine. I have two species right now that I got imported from Germany from the Rolafia study group. Um, they are the meanest things I've ever kept.
Mm.
Um, They are like murder torpedoes.
I believe it. They
They're
look like
gor- but they're
bulldogs.
but they're gorgeous. Like I have Occidentalis and Cybodorium, or however you pronounce it. Cannot pronounce it.
Okay.
Awesome fish. Super excited to work with them. But yeah, so the Cameroon trip, fingers crossed. Definitely let me know if somebody's going to Tanzania. I would love to. Contact me, however.
I'll have to get you Mikim. He's like
Yeah.
he's kind of a mystery. Like in the chat, like he's always talking about. I'm looking. He's over across the pond. But he's like, oh, I'm looking at the wholesale list of Killies today. I feel like he's owned like a fish store at some point. He just seems to know a lot about Killifish and Killy people.
Yeah, because Tanzania is like a dream because that's where Nothobranchius ocellatus is, which is my dream notho.
Okay.
Which is the Piscivorus Nothobranchius.
Is that the one that's big? Or...
It's giant and evil. Yeah.
Oh, this thing does look kind of like a Balanosox. I'll put the picture on the screen because
it's literally, if Croc's still in the chat, he and I nerd out about this fish every once in a while. But it's like a 5 to 7 inch notho. It eats other nothos. So that's where, so it evolved in sympatry with like Guntheri, Eggersii, and some other species, and they just grow fast and eat all the.
Love it.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Speaking of which, in the chat, Minwan Ku said, "So many tanks and not any room for Macropodus, SMH."
I have them. I gave all those Macropodus. That is okay.
That's a paradise fish, right?
I got a bunch of. So in Rebecca's Discord, we have an importer who lives in my area, and I asked, God, I don't even know how to say his name. I call him Hillstream Guy, but he's in the Discord. And he imported me. He was like, I said I want domestic Macropodus, and they sent me wild type Erythropteris, and I was like, I don't want these, so I just gave them away to my friend.
Hey.
Because I didn't want them, and I'm like, yeah, you know why I don't have any space? Because each of these tanks has one species, so none of these are duplicates. So there are.
Does that include fry tanks or?
No, there's more fry tanks. There's Tupperware galore.
Okay. Gotcha.
Well, that's a lie. I do have. My pupfish tanks, one is a mix of Cyprinodon and Garmonella, but that's just because, again, running out of space. So yes, I didn't have space for those Macropodus. Minwoo.
They said that the picture of that notho-eating fish, they said it looks like a fish wanted poster.
It's pretty gnar. There's a couple other species that never get imported that do the same lifestyle, like Nothobranchius lucius. Which is the same fish, but imagine like if you've ever seen Nothobranchius guntheri, imagine that coloration on an ocellatus.
Gotcha. Jody said, "Hey Weeks, nice to put a name to the face." Jody P.
Yep.
You're like this mystery person. Everyone's like, "Oh, he has a face." Like, oh my goodness, man, this is crazy.
I've never really, because the only thing I do, well, it's funny because people are like, who's this Weeks person? And then they see, who's this Matthew Weeks person? He can't possibly be the same person. And I'm like, yeah, like there's Facebook. I'm not exactly hidden. But no, I've been on the round.
Beto has a question. This is very general. Sure. He wants to know, what do you think about guppies? Just generally.
I love guppies.
Are they worth keeping?
Yes. Like I can give you a billion reasons why, but they're awesome. They're the same. It's the same thing with nothos. You can get any color, you can get any variety, you can do weird stuff with them.
How can you tell which guppies are worth having? Because my thing is, well, for me, it's if I like how it looks. Like I like panda guppies. Yeah. You know, I like some of the fancy, super shiny Moscow ones. But like, what would you say? A couple strange. Like these are the ones to get, or are there any that you're like, don't get those? Like. What do you think?
So I'm the same as you because I never got into the super big guppy breeding. There is a guppy guy in the Discords who you live bearers and guppies. If you want someone to chat with about guppies, he's your guy. I think his tag is like Trelly.
Okay.
Big live bearer dude, knows a lot about those. He does like line strains. He does weird hybrids. So, but I would say my favorite guppies are dragons. So like red dragons, green dragons, blue dragons. I just think they're super pretty. The Moscows are awesome. I bred Moscows for a couple years. The issue with Moscows was like getting them to keep their coloration, because if you inbreed them too much, they kind of lose it. Yeah, guppies are great.
Okay. Let's go, guppies.
I think they're underrated.
Oh,
I think guppies are underrated.
Whoa! Guppies are underrated. Are they more or less underrated than killifish?
I think Nothos are underrated just because people are scared of them. I think people have a weird and I think there's a lot of that these days with some of these older fish that have been around forever. Okay. I don't know if it's like a fear of being cliche or a fear of like what you don't know, but like in terms of Nothos, like the number one thing. Here, let's play it. Take a guess. What do you think what's the number one thing stopping you from keeping a Nothobranchius like right now?
I don't want to put the work into breeding it, so I still have them in 2 years.
That's a big one. The next one is I don't want a fish that only lives 1 year. And then the third one is can I keep them with shrimp?
There we go. Okay, that's a good. The shrimp question, I still don't know how to answer that for so many fish, because I'm the kind of person, I'm like, yeah, I'd probably keep most of these with shrimp, but I intend on my shrimp to be breeding and maintain a colony. Some people are buying 5 shrimp for like $6 each. Then I understand the question a lot more, because if you're like, I'm buying 6 shrimp at retail price and then I'm putting a fish for them, I'd be like, hold up. Hold up.
No, that's a big thing. But like I will say, Nothos will kill shrimp for fun. Like they won't even eat them; they'll just kill them. So I will say they aren't shrimp safe.
Okay.
No killie.
Oh, okay. Not shrimp safe.
Maybe Epiplates annulatus, but I'll die on that hill.
I like keeping Aphysimeans with shrimp. They don't seem to kill too many of them. Like Gaboins has been one that I've had a lot of shrimp with. But like any Fundula Panchex or the Riverless that I get, like they're gonna demolish them. Also, I have Fundulus Singulatus, the 3 Mile Creek, and that's
gorgeous.
It's like the native Galaris. This thing's getting massive. It would inhale any shrimp.
Those are awesome. Those like green and orange. I'm supposed to get some from Will eventually.
They're beautiful.
They will destroy shrimp. But like as to those second things, don't want to put the effort into keeping them. Cool. Don't put a bag of feed in there. Like I think it's like crazy because like you don't have to just keep it for a year. Like my always argument is like all these people are like, I want a beta. I'm like, I have a better option for you. I have a fish that can go in a 2.5 gallon tank. Sue me, crucify me. It can go filterless, it can go heaterless. All you need is Java moss and plants and a light, and even it doesn't even need a light. Like you could keep the killifish if you want to. You could keep in a 5-gallon bucket in the corner of your room, and they would be thrilled.
I'll join you on the 2.5. Like I'm more and more as I'm getting deeper into. I haven't been in the hobby that long, but the tank size stuff is just outrageous sometimes. Like I can't keep some least killifish in a 2.5. Like there are people that say there's 0 fish you could keep below 5 gallons, and I feel like I could think of at least 10 fish I keep in 5 gallons or lower. You know.
So, like people are always saying like, oh well, I don't want it to die in a year. I'm like, tell me how many years all your betas have lived. Like, just give me a number.
That's
like
a good point.
Some people say 3, and I'm like, cool, you're like the 10th person to tell me that out of 35.
I did a joke TikTok where I'm like on my knees, like, and it's like beta owners when they're mourning their fifth betta before buying another one, but like people like related to it, they're taking it serious. Like, yeah, this is like my fifth betta in the last 2 years. I'm like, damn. I know it's stereotyping, but it seems like that is a common experience. Like you're right. But a lot of people they worry about lifespan, but like let's be realistic. How many people are keeping their fish alive even 3 years? Like just the normal ones. Like a lot of fish are dying quickly. And that's why they could sell so many fish like CPDs. It seems like they can't sell enough CPDs. I know those aren't living 3 years. Otherwise they
Yeah.
wouldn't be selling them for $12 a piece at my LFS.
Are they still $12 where you are?
They just got to $12 in
That's
one of the stores near me.
that's crazy.
I don't get
I've
it.
seen those prices go from when I first started in the like industry, 2020, 2021.
Hmm.
We were selling them for $10, and that was because my store was insane and had a $10 or 10% or 10 times markup. Nobody
10
should do that. Don't
times.
do that. Yes, don't do a 10 times markup like
10
my old store that
times.
failed did.
God damn.
But we were literally buying these on the dollar and selling them for 10, and people would buy them. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
That's why sometimes people are like, protect the LFSs, their march, and I was like, depends on the one. Some of
Depends on the LFS, yeah.
some of them are some
Some
scam
don't.
artists.
The LFS I worked for, originally it was awesome and pretty okay, but the issue is competing with Aqua Imports is a pretty tough call considering
True.
their presence online.
You said it
stock
was near
making.
you, so that makes sense.
Yeah, like I could walk 5 minutes to Aqua Imports, and I'm like, this is the worst location for this fish store to be next to this
Oh my
one. I
God.
don't know why we decided that.
Okay, I have a
Um,
direction I want to go with you, but first, I have to keep up with the chat. The conversation's been going too well, so I'm way more behind than usual. But meanwhile, Kuz
What can I say?
what can I say? Darts are complicated. Emerging Amiga drown in as little as 1 to 2 centimeters of water in a tilted cup. Different genera have different exposures / adaptations to water. Complicated in regards to the way they deal with water, not care. Croc is very excited about Northo ocellatus. Although I'm confused because they say you've offered them the Killies many times, but they've backed down. Yet they say ocellatus is their favorite Northo. So is this like a favorite Northo but never kept one kind of a situation?
I've offered Croc at least 6 species of annuals, and he keeps saying that his apartment can't handle it, so that's on him.
Oh my gosh. But what's up, Big Steve? Johnny Best said my Killifish are like pit bulls in my fish room. Oh, there we go. Big said,
Sometimes.
I'll check with my friend when his next trip will be. He's master hunter, taking tourists for trips for 25 to 30 years, and he loves his Killies. Beto wants to know how you load your canister filters.
Like media?
I guess. I guess. What's your loadout?
So I have recently, in terms of what I do, I'm going to preface this by saying I think canister filters suck. But let's talk about this. So the reason why I don't like using canister filters is because I think 9 times out of 10 a sump is a better investment.
Okay.
I
I could get with that.
I understand the convenience of a canister filter, but the more moving parts you add to something, the more often they break. So
but
that's
isn't
my
a
issue with
canister filter not
but-
just like a mini sump? You know what I mean? Like.
No, because it's a pressurized sump. If it was a non-pressurized sump,
okay.
phenomenal.
Okay.
But it's pressurized, so if it leaks, it explodes. I've done some pretty weird stuff with canisters. But to answer the question, just sponge. I don't like adding a bunch of different stuff. Like I think charcoal has uses, but the more you get into the hobby, the more I personally rely more on biological filtration than chemical or physical filtration at this point in the game. Killifish are highly resilient to low oxygen conditions. Like you should see where some of these rivulets come from.
Right.
2 inches of water and there's like 30 fish in a 4-inch puddle, and it's like, okay, I'm keeping them a little better than that in my own environment at home, and they're 5-gallon tank. So, I just use sponges. I actually buy all my stuff from Swiss Tropical. Shout out Swiss Tropical, Dr.
Yep.
Steven Tanner.
Let's go. I just discovered them kind of recently. Like I got one at a. I didn't realize it was a Swiss tropical fish filter. I got it from this older keeper, so I thought he just made it, but it was just going
Yeah.
crazy. It was running forever. I got some co-op air collar sponges. It was frustrating me, and my friend was like, "Yo, Swiss tropicals. They got the air collars that don't clog. They
Yeah.
last,
Shout out.
and it's going
Shout out Dr.
crazy.
Stephen Tanner. Awesome dude.
It's amazing.
He helped me a lot with my work. He gave me I have bought like 20 cubic feet of foam from him at this point.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
It's awesome. It works great. Notice no noticeable difference from using chemical filtration in the water quality I have.
Okay.
So like, shove that with sponges. I like using that. You know, in terms of sponges, there are different sponges.
That's what I was gonna ask.
differently.
What do you feel about like how fine does
Yeah.
it need to be? Because I've been doing all coarse sponge until now, where I started adding fine sponges. Like, oh my god, this is like totally different experience.
So
The green water and fog is going away. Like, what's that? You know?
if you want clearer water, use finer sponges. If you just want constant biological filtration, use coarser sponges. I think that, like, you know, it's that surface area thing, but I think a lot of times people kind of get lost in the weeds of it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I want water flowing through a porous media. That's the sentence I want to hear, and that's what I want to see is done. So like at work, I use laundry bags full of sponge in my canister filters. That's all I use. We do have a weird system where we use top sumps instead of bottom sumps, so like it's that Asian style.
Okay.
But essentially
Top
we
sumps.
have, it's very bizarre because we have to have modular systems where we can move them from room to room. So none of my systems are permanent. So it's a very unique situation comparatively. But honestly, like sponges, best, if you want the best filtration you can get, go K1 fluidized media. But 90% of keepers don't need that because normally people aren't keeping hundreds of thousands of animals in one
Gotcha.
area.
Yeah. By the way, Jody said, I miss my Moscows and Galaxy Bluetails, but I don't miss the constant supply of fry. I haven't had the issue with guppies yet, but I have pretty
I haven't
soft
either.
water.
I think yeah, Jody's got that 800
Yeah.
billion TDS water that breeds
It's like
live bears
you
and
put your
spawns
hand in
them.
it and like you pull your hand out, it's got like a layer of protective armor
Yeah.
on it or something. Fish
Yeah,
and J
you're just
said,
slimy all the time.
Fish and J said, garter eye don't bother my shrimp. All right, buddy. you got the nicest garter eye in the world.
Well, then the
It could
other
happen.
thing,
It could happen.
There are people tell me this, and then they're like, "Oh, they smell that." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Welcome to biology. It's 100% right 80% of the time." Like, you know, there's exceptions that exist for everything.
Yeah.
I've met, like, if anybody's ever seen that picture of a Fahaka puffer in a community tank, I wouldn't recommend it, but it seems to be working.
Yeah. Looks like I don't know how to read, so I lost my place. But let's see. Jacob said a lot of the simplicity of the hobby are going away. What's wrong with just keeping some oddballs around? What, just like a tank of just all oddballs? I don't know. What's up, Sutton? How's it going? Pond Puppies, Big Steve, Beto, Fish and J. I think I said hi to Fish and J. Platinum said, I think guppies are overhated, not so much underrated.
I agree. That's a great way to put it, actually. I think that's a really good thing to say, because, yeah, overhated. I like that. I'm gonna steal that.
Okay, great. Let's go, chat. Come on, we're pressing them. Featherfin said, how big is the Venn diagram between beta owners and rodent owners? That's kind
don't know.
of crazy. I don't know how to answer.
God.
Beta owner. So I guess that gotta include like what, hamsters and stuff like that. Like it's not just rats. Like.
So I'll try to speak as. So I worked in Petco, sure, for a bit.
Okay.
I was aquatic manager. That was the funniest job.
Manager! I didn't know I was
I
in the presence of
walked
an
in.
officer.
I walked into this Petco and said, "Hey, I ran a 3,000 square foot store." They're like, "Oh, cool.
Nice.
here's the job. Um,
Nice.
but so beta owners and hamster owners, maybe the fact that a lot of times they're both 12-year-old girls, like, I guess that seems to be something, especially with the domestic types. Some of the wild type betas you get a bit more specialized. I've
Yeah.
met some, like my friend Sai is he breeds
Mm.
dozens of species of wild betas. He
Okay.
wouldn't be caught dead with a gerbil
So
or a
so Venn
hamster.
Venn diagram is, it depends. Are they 12-year
Yeah,
old
I don't
girls?
know. It might be two entirely different. I think 12-year-old girl is my locked in
Well,
answer.
now hold on. That's a big stereotype. Do you believe in fish keeping stereotypes? Because I'll be honest, like some of them, they kind of ring true. Like there's certain types of people that go through certain fish. Now, betta fish, that one, I feel like just everyone seems to like betta fish in general. But you know what, like killifish, I feel like the stereotype is you're like over the age of 60 minimum. You know.
So my idea on fish stereotypes is they're stereotypes for a reason.
Okay.
There's again, just like biology, there's exceptions to every rule. I have so in my experience, the beta communities have been a lot more people either just getting started or rediscovering their passions for fish.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was running the store, I would meet a lot of younger kids who were like, oh, this is a beta. My parents said I can get a beta. What's the best I can do? And I, weirdly enough, like a lot of times people think they're like unprepared, but no, like these kids do their research. Like I remember one girl, it was when my store was closing and it was kind of an issue, but this one girl came in and she said, hey, I'm really like, I've worked a lot on getting forward to this beta. Like this beta I've been looking at for like 2 weeks and I want to get him. And she like listed off all the stuff she was doing.
Mm.
And then she's like, my mom finally said I could get them. And I was like, you know what? I can't even sell this fish. Here you go. And I just gave her a fish for free. But like that stereotype is almost like, yes, it's there, but I think it's overstated for a lot of people. Like I've met those stereotypical beta keepers where you're like, gotta just put my foot in my mouth about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I've met in the killifish community like people my age who are really getting into it comparatively. Like yes, there are 87-year-old men keeping fish.
Yeah.
Shout out Fred Bierman, amazing killifish hobbyist, old dude. But if you ever want really well-bred fish, he has the expertise and the experience
I got
to back it up.
Sheila, I read that from great guy.
Yeah.
I think
He's
he's
the only one who openly says that he's breaking the law on Aquabid about selling real pearlfish.
I think that killifish, it's old right now, but I feel like new younger fish keepers, like I feel like a lot of us that like Pokemon and things like that. There's a lot of collectors in the younger generations right now, and I think killifish is like one of the best kind of fish you can get into, where there's something from everywhere. Like the different colors always talk about that. So I feel like killifish could be on their way up a little bit. You know, bettas are a little bit tired.
I think the big advantage that killifish have right now is the advent of small tanks that came around in the pandemic. And a lot of people right now are saying, I have a 5-gallon tank, what can I keep? And everybody says beta. Like, it's just beta, whatever. I'll pronounce it wrong every once in a while. But people are like, oh, keep a beta. It's so easy to go get a beta. And that's the issue, availability, right? But, you know, if little Timmy has a 2.5-gallon tank that he saved up all his money to get because they can't afford anything bigger and it's harder to afford things with how things are going, those small tanks work perfect for killifish. And if we just kind of get those more available, I think there is like, I wouldn't say a revolution, but I think there is definitely a more of a cognizance about them being out there.
I feel that.
In my killifish club in Bay Area, Killifish Association, BACA, we have a lot more younger college guys getting involved. We have some younger women getting involved. It's always funny. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like I promise you they're cool. They're just old guys. Like it's okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm still
Like
I'm still laughing that your thing is baka.
yeah, no, it is. And people are like, you're a part of Baka? I'm like, yes,
Baka.
make your jokes.
People are
It's the
liking.
oldest it's one of the oldest killifish clubs in the US and it was very well known.
People like they're liking foam. They're liking the sumps. Barbara says I hate taking apart cleaning canisters. Always end up with water all over the place. Meanwhile says matte filters and sponge filters for me all day. Says they're Swiss tropical jet lifters do clog after a few months. And then the Venn diagram Platinum says poor husbandry is right, probably right in between that diagram between the rodents and the betta fish keepers.
My issue is like I don't know enough about rodents. I do know somebody with a hamster room.
Okay.
Not a fish room, but a hamster room.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd be a little concerned. If someone told me that a hamster room, I'd probably look at them like.
No, she's interesting.
Especially if I'm at an event and they brought food to the event, I'd probably be like,
The hamster room is interesting because you know what it is like. So people like to imagine like, oh, there's whimsical little like tubes everywhere. It's just boxes of dirt. Like, because hamsters are just burrowing. They just hang out underground. So there's just tanks.
What a terrible pet. Oh my gosh.
Like 20-gallon highs at least halfway filled.
That's the craziest thing I've seen is like it's not just fish where people are like trying to be like, oh, we need bigger tanks. Like apparently with hamsters you got to get them like a 5-star hotel or something. Like
yeah, I mean I'm not gonna pretend to be the expert on hamster husbandry. I'm sure there's things we do wrong, but like it's just hysterical because it's like yeah, the best thing for them is this pile of dirt, and I'm like
right.
I feel a lot more secure in my hobby these days when I hear about the hamster room. Because, like, I have no dirt in any of these tanks except for the cups that the fish spawn in.
I see Croc said, I'll not accept hamster slander. Minwan said, I used to breed hamsters in an old bathtub outside in the summer as a kid. What in the world?
Of course you did, okay? What haven't you done?
Fish and Jay said people be saying a 4-foot tank for hamsters. Oh my god, that's crazy.
That seems insane, but I don't know. Like that could be the new ethical standard for hamsters.
Hey, could it be me? Now, okay, so when we were talking earlier, we were discussing the difference between like academics and hobbyists. But sure. You also got the aquaculture stuff, and a lot of the papers I read and a lot of the new stuff that comes in the hobby, it seems to trickle down from aquaculture stuff. Is kind of what I've seen, like a lot of the foods and things about filtration. So now we're going from academic, we had the hobbyist, but what is the aquaculture aspect brought in to you that's different?
I think people need to actually understand what aquaculture is, and that is farming. So it's not. It doesn't sound as nice.
It doesn't sound as nice.
It's not, and I'm not saying like So I'll preface with saying like as I am finishing up my master's cert in fish health and aquaculture, the most helpful thing that it did for me was recognize that aquaculture is not my field of study that I'm passionate about. It's very important and it's very necessary for new stuff, but a lot of times with aquaculture, like hobbyists are concerned with ethics, right? A lot of the time. Aquaculture is kind of focused on pushing the boundaries on what you can do with the materials you have at hand. So a lot of my classes have focused on food fish aquaculture. So you're like, yeah, that's 10 billion tilapia stuffed in a 1-acre pond. Like, it's probably not ethically great, but you're feeding it for food and you can do it. Ornamental aquaculture is still farming, which I think might be a less than popular opinion.
What else?
And it's a competitive.
What else could it be? Like,
Yeah,
Aquaculture, it's specific. It sounds nice, but like when you read the aquaculture papers, it's not like they're keeping them in, you know, any kind of non-farming thing. It's the same. That's the
yeah,
food
and
fish.
it's not a bad thing. It's not like aquaculture is fish torture, right? There are fish torture labs essentially where you're like doing this, like look what we did to the zebrafish. Like I would argue zebrafish are far more tortured than any other
Oh, yeah,
aquaculture
of
species.
course. But it's for the
Um,
it's for the greatest of goods though. With them, they solve everything.
Something. It's like we gave the zebrafish cocaine and it acted bizarre. And you're like, yeah, congratulations, like you figured it out. But did you see the cocaine salmon study recently?
What salmon
Um,
study?
there was a salmon there. So there was a study, um, looking into the effects of cocaine on salmon migration,
Okay.
because there have been affluent flows of cocaine into watersheds.
Yes.
So somebody got the funding to give salmon cocaine and test how far they swam. And cocaine salmon swam like double the distance.
Let's
Um,
go.
so
Let's go.
that's a bit more like, okay, we gave this salmon cocaine. Like that's what we're doing.
But
In
is that
terms of
torture or is that like, yo, they got it for free? Like
who
cocaine is
knows? Like maybe
expensive,
those salmon were hyped up, and we don't know because salmon are dying at the end of their lifespan anyways. They're semiparous. They don't live. There's very very rare examples of them living to see another spawning season.
Oh, I
But like in the
didn't
terms of,
really. They die after they spawn, kind of a thing. Like,
yeah,
damn.
there's a very weird, like 97% of them die. There's some very weird biological exceptions, but those are
Mm.
like so small that they're only important for salmon researchers who are like, this is really neat.
Okay.
Um,
But there's some fans of the
but
study in the chat, by the way. Jacob said the study's
yeah,
hilarious, and Barb said
I'm
skinny,
still.
nervous
It is.
salmon.
Yeah, it's like you get weird stuff. Like there was a test of like meth on zebrafish at some point. You can do a bunch of stuff. But like anyways, back to kind of like marine or ornamental aquaculture. Um, People like to think of it as like, oh, they're raising these fish and making sure they're all well and taken care of. But like at the end of the day, you are looking at a production facility, and you are looking at something that is in its essence a farming operation. So the disconnect that happens with me for that is, at my core, I am an ecologist. Like I study ecology. The job I do is um, we do captive rearing, so we bring animals into our facility, raise them to a point, release them, and then we study the effects of their populations being changed. We have a big event coming up where we're doing a massive like success kind of release, which is,
Nice.
you know, so we have results on that. In terms of just like aquaculture, there is conservation aquaculture happening. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot harder to do. If anybody wants stuff to look into the reason why I'm a little less than positive about conservation aquaculture. If you want to look into the um, Delta smelt breeding program at UC Davis, which is a hotly debated topic here in California, but they produce fish in like a production setting for release into the wild, and
Okay.
it hasn't been going too phenomenally.
Mm.
But I just think there's a disconnect that people should be like, when people are like, oh, these yellow tangs are being aquacultured to save the environment. Like, it's not that black and white. Like, yes, they're doing that, but they're doing that more to figure out like how they can.
Okay.
So that's where the disconnect in aquaculture and the hobby. Like, I think the hobby and aquaculture are closer to related than conservation and the hobby.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, that makes sense to me. And a lot of the times when I'm looking at aquaculture stuff is because I'm trying to inform myself on how I could better raise fish that make more fish and then raise those fish in a more efficient way. Like, a lot of the nutrition stuff that I'm trying to look at is like, oh, let's compare these live foods. Like, that's all coming from aquaculture stuff. This.
Yes. So that is something I will say. The nutrition studies are very interesting. I recently just finished a fish nutrition course. Um,
Okay.
but the fact is, there aren't a lot of studies because there's no funding for it. Tons of studies on salmon, tons of studies on catfish,
Yeah.
studies on guppies. There's a lot of studies on guppies, but like, find me some killifish nutritional studies. Like,
Best I
there's
could
a
do is
couple
life
that,
extension.
yes, which is, by the way, that paper's a little hit or miss on if it's the one I'm thinking of, where it was like talking about intermittent fasting to extend
Oh, I don't
lifespan.
know if I read that necessarily. I just know that people look at them for that kind of a thing. But
Yeah, there's a lot of I've worked with several aging labs for those. Yeah, they do a lot of weird stuff. The Stanford lab near me does some really, it's interesting. They were
you're
the
in a
first
good
lab that
spot
did.
though for a lot of this stuff. Like you got a lot of cool like labs and stuff around you and things like
Yeah, if I
that.
wanted to do aging, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the ecology stuff is a little difficult for the killies.
Well, how about this? I feel like this is the one everlasting mystery besides changing water is fish
Sure.
health. People always, even if you know something about fish health and what meds to use, it's always like a struggle of how is my fish getting sick? Why is it sick? What's the best thing I can do to keep my fish healthy? I feel like that's another thing the aquaculture has a lot of interest and funding behind is how can we keep the most amount of fish in one place without them getting sick and dying
Yeah.
or reducing our profits. So with all you come across, you got the academic, the hobby, and the aquaculture. What are your thoughts on fish health that can be applied on a hobby level? Is it just nutrition? Like
I
you give them the best nutrition and then their immune system is like amazing?
I would argue that I think nutrition is probably more important than medication. Um, no, unfortunately no, but that's just because of the way that pathogens evolve. Um, so I've taken some fair interest in diseases and stuff. Um, there's so many fish diseases, it's insane. In terms of like, and they're so specific. Like if you look into koi, there's like a lot of koi stuff. Um, I don't know enough about to say exactly why, but like, koi herpes virus, carp pox, spring viremia of carp, those are all very important in the aquaculture scene because of how deadly they are. So
Damn, deadly
the
herpes is
common
crazy.
herpes, herpes and fish, herpes virus and fish are like really gnarly. Like if
Damn.
you want to look into, there's like supprinted herpes 1, supprinted herpes 2, supprinted herpes 3, and they all do different things, but they're all herpes viruses. Carp pox is a herpes virus. I think spring viremia of carp is a herpes. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that one.
Gotcha.
But they're all very, because of like how fish are going importing or coming or leaving or coming in, you have to be hyper aware of those things. In salmon, you have to be cognizant of Aeromonas salmonicida. You're not really gonna get that much in the hobby. It pop like Aeromonas pops up every once in a while, but like if you think of one thing, like if you think of anybody, has anybody ever told you like, oh, I'm really struggling with an Aeromonas infection?
Well, I feel like I think that's part of the problem is like a lot of people you don't know what you have and sometimes the symptoms like you look
Yeah,
it up it might say Aeromonas might match, you know what I mean? So and it could just
and
not
the
be that,
issue with and the
like
issue with antibiotics,
I
the
have an
whole
issue
thing.
where sometimes fish just seem to bloat up on me and I haven't been able to figure out exactly what it is. Like I'll go long periods of time without it happening, but sometimes they'll just bloat up and get dropsy, and I can't seem to tell what it is. I'm starting to wonder if there's like some bacteria in my tap water or
Yeah, and then
something.
you
Like,
look. online and they're like, it's mycobacteria. You're all gonna die. Kill all your
Exactly,
fish. And you're like,
exactly. That's, so I've never had, like, for instance, I've never had a catfish die to it. It's mostly killifish and cichlids that every now and then
yeah, and
it
that's
happens.
I would argue that's probably some like nutritional thing, if anything. Um, my hot take with mycobacteria is that it's not a big deal as people think it is. If you like, I know 3 people out of the hundreds of people I've met in the hobby over 10. We can ignore the years 12 to 17 when I wasn't actively meeting hobbyists. In the 10 years I've been doing this, I've heard of 3 people who have had mycobacteria infections or issues with them in their fish. Like, yes, it's zoonotic. Yes, you can get it. You're probably not. And if it is present in your tanks, it's not this all kill everything, life is over.
Right.
Um, so, there is a lot of, and I think there's this misconception like, oh, my fish has a bacterial disease. I better just slam it with Canaplex, which is a very strong antibiotic.
I've just
Um,
recently come to the conclusion that I've basically killed every fish I've used Cataplex on with the Cataplex. I feel like because I was reading
Canaplex
I was reading deep
yeah.
enough. I'm like, okay, they got bloating or whatever. This is like maybe something with some liver type stuff. I'm like, oh, Canaplex. What is it really hard on? Oh, all the organs that are probably failing in my fish.
Yeah, it's kidneys, it's urine. Yeah, it's so, and that's like a thing. I think in the hobby we want to be more cognizant about fish health. And it's good to be aware of it. But I think at the end of the day, like even in the US, we have
All
terribly unrestricted access
all
to
all the
antibiotics.
medications,
You can
all of
get
them.
whatever the hell you want. You can go on eBay right now and buy a pound of nitrofurazone. That's just super carcinogenic, but you can just buy it. Like it's illegal, but you could get it. Like when I was taking my fish health class, they were like, "We're going to teach you all the legal ways to treat fish because if we teach you these ways that you learn in the hobby, we would be fired."
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
like all these hobby medications, Canaplex is technically like you need a doctor's note to use Canaplex. I don't think anybody is getting a prescription for Canaplex or
Right.
Canamycin. I think the Canamycin we might be using is a little diluted compared to like, medical grade Canamycin.
Right.
But everybody's like, oh, my fish has a fungus when fungus doesn't really exist. There are two fungal diseases,
Hmm.
true fungal diseases. One is found in sharks, so none of you will deal with that. And then there might be like one in saltwater. So they're mostly like saltwater fungal diseases, which is
Okay. Interesting.
bizarre. Um, but like
So wait, what
saprolegnia.
is? That's what I was gonna ask about. Go ahead.
Yep. Let's get to saprolegnia.
Don't
It is
tell me.
not a fungus.
What?
It is not a fungus. It is a
No.
water mold.
Wait. Say it ain't so. They always say that's a fungus. You're telling.
Yes. So this is where I'm kind of coming into the people really want to know these things, but the information is not up to date and it's not communicated well. If you want to cure sapro, the answer is salt. Don't use anything else. Don't use antifungals. Don't use antiparasitics. Use salt. Salt will cure sapro because it cannot survive in salt.
Okay.
But nobody will tell you that because they'll be like, oh, it's a fungus. You got to use an antifungal. Use Maricin. Maricin oxy will work because it's a sodium hypochlorite, not chloride. So it's a little weird. So there's
Chlorite or chloride. Okay.
yeah. So
That's a new
like,
one to look up.
yeah, it's sodium hypochlorite instead of sodium chloride.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that makes the
but
difference. So it can fight this apparent water
it's
mold, not fungus. My
yeah,
bad. It's a mold.
but it's like if you look, this is so the last like 2010s to 2020s, there was a lot of new study. I don't know if you've ever heard of the old killifish disease, gluglia. Funny name.
I don't recognize it by
Um,
name, no, but
it is now no longer called gluglia, and it is now called like
Gluglia. That is a
I
funny
think it
name.
might be something differently.
The main killifish disease that
Yeah.
I think of related to killifish is like velvet. That seems to be something a lot of killifish people talk about is velvet.
I also have the feeling that like, so I've had fry just die on me with no like right now I have something where they develop like a white patch, and I'm pretty sure it's just columnaris or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like people are like, oh, it's velvet. I'm like, I don't think it was velvet. Like,
Okay.
I think you're just kind of saying that. Um, with Nothos, velvet is very big and a kind of an issue. But like, I feel like a lot of these diseases that people are so quick to diagnose, they're like red patches, it's this, or my fish is feeling weak, it's this. Like my fish has white dots on it that are big, it's epistylus. If you ever want a really fun conversation about epistylus, talk to Rebecca about it. She'll talk your ear off about how nobody knows how to identify it.
Well, that I saw
Um,
Dan's Fish give a talk at ACLC near me, and that was the one impression I walked away from that he really went down on. Is basically you can't diagnose anything by looking at it realistically.
oh yeah,
Like,
no, you need a microscope at minimum. And sometimes you might even need to stain these bacteria to see what they are.
yeah,
Um, so, and the funniest thing is, Maricin, pretty useless.
that was a question was how strong is erythromycin compared to Canaplex? That's something Barbara
So the
asked.
issue is, let me make sure. Erythromycin is a.
Erythrom-
Erythromycin is gram positive. Most fish bacterial diseases are gram negative. Kanamycin does both, but it primarily targets gram negative. Or wait, yes. So some of the gram positive diseases you'll run into are like strep. Um, if you run into streptococcus, you'll know because your fish will be dying as you watch.
okay.
There's they suffer internal hemorrhaging of the brain and they just drop. That's when you need erythromycin. But
Nice.
you know, you're not gonna probably run into that. And if you do, that's just kind of unfortunate. Like, I wish, like, it would be great to ID it. I know somebody who caught it fast enough to treat, but for the most part, like, the treatment that for a lot of these diseases, you could just use salt.
Mm.
Salt's kind of a wonder drug. Um, Erythromycin, I won't lie, I've used it before. It's worked in certain scenarios. I'd far rather use kanamycin.
Okay.
I'd far rather use like nitrofurazone, but I don't really like getting cancer. I have acroflavine,
So
which is
I've
awesome.
gotten nitro from a fish store once. They're like, try this on your weird thing. I didn't really know
Yeah,
what it is. So did I just get
that
cancer? Like,
stuff's. No, you'll be. Well, we're all getting cancer at this point. Our blood is
no,
full of
no, you'll be fine.
microplastics.
No, wait a second. Actually,
I mean, it's kind of carcinogenic in the way that like California labels every probably all these things are carcinogenic, but when it gives you
yeah.
cancer, it's probably you're gonna be 85 and you're like, whatever, I have colon cancer, I'll be fine. It's gonna take 5 years to kill me. I'll be 92.
Hey, look.
So
So,
like that's
hey.
kind of.
Meanwhile, it's fascinating. I have very little experience with diseases. So ironically enough, this is quite valuable information. Oh, look at that. Dropping valuable
I know I'm gonna have to
information.
start. I'm gonna start charging him, but he killed all the fish that he was supposed to give me, so he doesn't have anything for me.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, what do you think are what are the medications that people should have, and the ones you
Salt.
salt? Is that it?
Just like, I keep kanamycin on hand, but that's also just because, I have 30 tanks. If you have 30 tanks, sure, grab yourself some kanamycin, grab
Okay.
yourself some salt, grab yourself Icex. I think Icex is awesome.
That's what
Um,
I was gonna say. Icex is the one I've landed on. Like, I
yeah,
think this and salt and levamisole just because camellinus worms.
yeah.
But
I've been lucky to never encounter camellinus worms. I'm currently on the flubendazole train.
ooh,
Uh,
okay.
which is a stronger anti-wormer than a lot of others. But I've used fenbendazole, which is a dewormer. I use that for Hydra. I actually overdosed a tank with flubendazole, and my Nothos did not appreciate that, so you can overdose it.
Mhm.
But like, I think if you're really getting into the weeds, like me and you and some of these highly specialized hobbyists, and you want to spend the time to ID, or somebody is like, yeah, use this, who's have 20 years of experience, sure. But if you're kind of like, my beta is lethargic, what's wrong? I don't know. I don't think you know.
Right.
Probably just throw some salt in there and see if that fixes things. Like,
Yeah.
I've cured a lot of stuff with salt.
I'm trying to use salt more. It's just, especially when you have plants and stuff. Although most of them seem like they can tolerate a
Yeah,
decent amount.
all my tanks have salt in them.
Oh shit. Okay. How much?
Yeah, the only
How much
things
you?
that a teaspoon per 5 gallons, so like barely any. It's
Okay.
literally just to keep salt away, or keep velvet away. You could do a lot of salt without fish being affected.
Okay.
Um, I
You
kept
know what that makes
I
me so
have
mad is because like every time I ask someone about brackish and how much salt to put in, they just say put any amount of salt in. I'm just like,
No,
that's just,
seriously though,
that
you
gets me
can't do
so
that with brackish.
it gets me
I
so
have
mad.
I have 2 brackish tanks, technically brackish, because I keep all my Sopranodon and Garmonella brackish.
Okay.
Um, because they need hot and hard water. Um, so yeah, they could deal with any. They can deal with anywhere from 5 ppt to 40 ppt. Nobody's doing 40 ppt. That's going to be saltier than seawater.
Mm.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
but yes, salt. I mean, by the time you're identifying, if you have medication and it's sitting on your counter for years and then you need to use it, it's probably at 50% efficiency anyways. It's like, I don't know, like, as somebody who talked with several veterinarians, they're kind of like, either preemptively treat when you first get them in, which I get, like, you could just blast them through a regimen, which will be
Yeah.
like antibiotics, antiparasitics, but like,
Pond Puppies was bringing up the co-op trio because I think they're asking because it's erythromycin, ICX, and like Paraclins or something like that. And
yeah, I mean,
you're talking about the gram
know that.
positives, so they're like, gram. It's missing the gram
So
negative.
erythromycin has, so the gram negative and gram positive sort of concept is, it's more effective against one or the other, but depending on the antibiotic, it can be effective against both in a limited capacity. So while I have the thing, like, I followed Corey for several years. Like, he was the one, kind of the fish tuber I grew up with.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that his system works, but I also think that if he gets like some super crazy like bacterial disease, it probably just kills his fish anyways.
Yeah.
So I would say if it works for you, continue to do it. Don't just change what you're doing because of like something like if you were like, in the case you can like correctly ID something, like, oh, that's a red patch that has symptoms in tune with Eromonas. I'd probably rather use kanamycin than I would use erythromycin.
Right.
But
You got
you can
your
buy
method that
erythromycin.
works for you. Yeah.
Like, I have Maricin right here. I have a jar of it. Like,
It was very close. What are you doing with that
yeah, I
medicine
have
at the desk?
all my my fancy drugs are right here.
What the heck? You got the carcinogens on standby.
I know.
This is crazy.
I have this one that doesn't work. I don't use Paragard. I don't
What?
like that.
Paragard doesn't work? No.
I don't like Paragard. Paragard feels like a worse version of Formalin. Oh, I guess that's the other thing.
Well, I was gonna
If
say
people really-
I like ICX more now that I understand it's got like the formaldehyde in it. Because every paper I read about treating diseases in fish is like formalin.
Formalin is scary because the formalin is 37% formaldehyde gas dissolved into solution. It is so frighteningly carcinogenic. Like, I don't like being near formalin. I got in trouble at work for having a formalin jar in our office space. They were like, "What are you doing?"
See, this is why you can't have them on your desk at home. See, this is what
Yes.
the bad habits.
but like I have all my fish are preserved in ethanol. I have some like this. Here's a here's a fish preserved in ethanol.
Okay,
That's
come
not
on.
carcinogenic.
You got that in a pea sample cup? What's going on? What,
Yeah, because it's
the
like
sanctity
it's
of
small
life.
and fits. You can write down what species it is.
Oh my, that has to be a UNS rimless pea sample cup for me to accept that. Oh my gosh. Which one is this?
This is a Nothobranchius marmoreus, which is a
Wow.
new species discovered,
I don't
which
know what's
I
more
managed.
concerning, this or the hamster room. I don't know.
Well, the hamster room's owned by my coworker, so.
There we go. Oh, couple fish. Shout out couple fish. He said, "OMG Discord crossover. Aren't we all on a list in Malaysia right now?"
We're all gonna go to Malaysia next year and see if we can win.
See if we can win. It's gonna be like Hunger Games. We get out the airport, and then all of a sudden, there's just someone shooting arrows at us with beta care instruction guides on them.
There's like just machetes getting hucked at you.
Pompey said, "Nitrofurozone and kanamycin are the best combo. Synergistic blend not even known in science yet." I can't tell if that was a joke or not, based because of the not even known in science yet part. But I mean, it sounds
There
good to
is
me.
too much. I mean, nitrofuranzone's a very strong antibiotic. Same with kanamycin. The only thing you really have to worry about then is killing your fish before the bacteria.
Mm.
Um,
I'm always looking for a more effective way to kill my fish. Perfect.
Yeah, like there's that's the thing with formalin. Formalin is seeing if you can kill the ectoparasites before it kills your fish. Like it's a lot of these things.
The way they talk about using it, it makes it seem like you can just do a formalin bath like it's nothing. Like there's like, yeah, just use formalin.
I wouldn't do formalin bath. I mean, oh yeah, like putting it in the tank. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's approved by the FDA. So that's why people are like, yeah, use formalin.
Okay.
I mean, there's only certain formalin brands approved by the FDA. So if you just used random formalin in a aquaculture facility, you would be fired and shut down. You'd have to use like formalin S or F formalin. There's 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, it works. There's very monitored and documented ways of using it.
Okay.
But like, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I've never used formalin in my hobby tanks. I'm sure I could. I don't want to.
He just doesn't want the cancer bad enough. This is crazy.
I just don't think that you're gonna run into enough of issues where you're gonna need this massive medicine cabinet.
Okay.
And I don't think the average hobbyist is gonna be not intelligent enough, but like well informed enough about fish health to be like, I know what that is. I'm gonna send that to a fish pathology lab. Wait 2 weeks. Hope my fish are dead.
Yep. Jody says, asks, what was that thing you and I talked about when I brought up microsporidia?
Flubendazole.
Okay. Wow, I can't.
So that's a
That
dewormer. So that's kind of this old killifish hobbyist trick. You can buy it on Amazon under. Let me make sure I can find the name again. I just bought some myself because I'm struggling with some parasitic stuff that I've been told it'll help with.
Okay, you got it. Pod Puppy said, I accidentally get Riddick Plus on me all the time. I get ICX on me all the time too.
You're fine. If it's like, you know, the real stuff was back in the day. Noxic used to be like 50% malachite green. Those guys are probably not having a good time.
Oh my god, that's really high. Like, is it ICX gotta be like below 5% or something like that, right? Like
ICX is 0.5.
Oh my god. What's worse, the Noxic users or coal miners? I don't even know at this point. Oh my goodness.
So the thing on Amazon, it's like an AI generated logo, but it's called Absolute Wormer, Jody. And you can buy it in like 20 grams. 5 grams treats 600 gallons.
Okay.
The trick I've heard of using it too, if you ever feed worms, chop it up with the worms. The mucus of the worms binds the flubendazole to the worms, and then when the fish eat it, they ingest the flubendazole.
Gotcha. And smart person asks, flubendazole and finbendazole are similar but different, right? I use finbendazole sometimes for planarians and hydra.
Yeah, correct. They're both dewormers. I'm unsure of the actual specifics. But flubendazole is a very much more well-known cure for microsporidian parasites before they become encysted. So if you treat your fish like
Okay.
young, you can get out of that.
Okay.
But it also is stronger against parasites that have developed a resistance to praziquantel, which is in Paracleanse.
Mm. Oh my gosh. We got it. Okay, we got a question from Featherfins again. Is amoxicillin any good? That's the question.
I've never used amoxicillin. I'm sure it's still pretty good. The thing I've used amoxicillin for bacterial affections of anemones back when I did salt stuff, but I've never really genuinely used like amoxicillin in freshwater. Like as much as I know about some of these meds, I'm pretty much like ICX or bust. Like
That's
if this fish
yeah.
has an issue, ICX. If this fish has a bacterial issue, that I'm sure it's a bacterial issue, Canaplex. If it just has an issue, salt.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm starting to get to. I see, yeah, George Cyclidia said finbendazole is great for hydra. Barbara asked, any difference between the various salts out there? Table salt, aquarium salt, saltwater salt for treating fish.
Yes, so they are all different. Table salt is often iodized salt, so it has iodine added, which is not necessarily great for your fish. In a pinch, if you use iodized salt for a salt bath, probably should be fine. But I wouldn't recommend really using it.
Okay.
You can buy kosher salt.
It's got another factor, variable in there, the iodine.
Yeah.
So it's like.
So what, basically what aquarium salt is it's just kind of like non-iodized salt. So you can buy, instead of aquarium salt, I buy kosher salt. You can buy ice cream rock salt. It's harder to dissolve because it comes in bigger chunks. But like kosher salt's kind of my go-to for standard salt. I'm kind of weird. I personally use marine salt, but the reason I use marine salt is because nothos are very susceptible to velvet, as mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
And the addition of salt raises the water hardness. I have hard water, but my KH is low. So I add marine salt at a low dosage, which bumps my GH up, bumps my KH up. So it keeps that going. So some people, if they have really hard water, they can just use straight aquarium salt, which is, kosher salt. But I use marine salt just because I have it on hand. And plus, I hatch a ton of brine shrimp.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I put marine salt in tanks, like, because I have soft water with like basically nothing in it. So sometimes I'm like, maybe there's like a mineral deficiency.
I wish I had that. I'd be breeding so many more
That's why I'm embarrassed about my production of fish, because I'm like, I kind of have fantastic water.
Yeah, I'll have to send you some Matalabius at some point, because I've got over 100 of them.
Hey, wow. Hey, that's some nice success right there. That's what I want. I'm trying to do that with the Galaris from the Funge collection point. I have like 40 of them right now.
That's incredible for that location.
I got 40 like this big, so they're doing well. I just got to keep collecting the eggs and stuff. It looks like I'm pretty heavy on males right now, but yeah.
I had heavy on males too.
Yeah, I'm just water incubating them, and that seemed to be producing a good amount of them. It just takes forever, but yeah, that's one of the ones I'm focused on trying to do a lot of. I want to have 100 of them would be nice, like, but I'm running out of space. I'm gonna run out of space.
You've got quite the fish room. I've only got the 5 gallons. I wish I could fit some bigger tanks.
Half these ones back in this part of the room. I'm trying to consolidate a bit, so I'm not as distracted. Like, I want to get rid of all my 20 highs because I don't like working with them. Like, they're too tall.
I have about 3 inches of space to work with these tanks.
I've realized about myself, the smallest amount of friction really keeps me from getting shit done. So like I'm having to reorganize the fish room around how lazy I am. So like even just like working space above, like like I even struggle with sensations of just like my hands being wet a lot sometimes. Like some days I'm like I gotta wear gloves, you know. So that's kind of like that's the level I'm
Yeah, the
working on.
gloves that go all the way up to your arms.
Not all the way up to the arms, but you know, gotta be something because otherwise I wash my hands like 20 times and then my hands are cracking and
Yeah,
then I don't want to put my hands
I
in the
get that
tank.
at work.
Yeah. Well, going back a little bit on the aquaculture thing because the disease stuff is
Sure.
it's honestly very helpful, but someone put a thing up there. I think it was Pond Puppies. It was like fish meal over wheat meal. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about is ingredients because for instance, if you go on Kin's Fish, I feel like he so economic when it comes to food, but a lot of them are kind of like aquaculture-esque meals and stuff. Like if I go on to a Ziegler and I compare the ingredients, you know, it's a similar kind of thing on there to their aquaculture foods. So what are the ingredients that you kind of look at, the order of them? Like, how do we make sense of this and what we should care about?
I think so. It kind of comes down into. So there's a big issue and debate in aquaculture right now in terms of like feeding fish. Because in order to produce a certain amount of poundage of salmon, you're feeding them a certain amount of forage fish. So like sardines, Manhattan, so in aquaculture, it depends a lot more on the type of fish. Marine fish need special additions to their diets in order
Right.
to thrive.
Right. And I'll add to the question. I know a lot of the foods have like the V packs and stuff in that. So is that something that?
Vitamin pack, that's
Yeah.
just standard. So
Okay.
that's something that like people will be like Aquarium Co-op has that, where it's just like it's a standard vitamin pack. There are in-depth studies on certain fish where they're like, this is the vitamins you would need, and they kind of just assume that to be the general thing that fish can use, so they just throw that into most fish food.
Okay.
But in terms of fish meal and wheat meal, you know, you can use fish meal's very expensive. It's not protein is the number one cost of a aquaculture facility. It tends to be up to 75% of the cost. Just buying protein for your fish food to grow your fish.
Right.
So there's that, and then there's the issue of like catching so many fish. Like the main fishery for anchovies is off South America, and it's pretty stable. But you know, people are like, oh, we're using a lot of fish to feed fish. Like that's not how aquaculture should be. We should be producing fish from other things.
Yeah.
So there are a lot more studies coming out recently in using different types of oils. But you know,
So
aquaculture.
why do you go to
Yeah.
oils and it's not like, oh, black soldier flies? This is going to fix it. Like,
Because black soldier fly is really expensive.
oh shit. Okay.
So to produce, like let's take an example. Have you fluval bug bites, right?
Yep.
The first ingredient is black soldier fly larvae, correct? I think.
Yeah. I think.
What's
it's
the
up there.
second ingredient?
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up, but keep making your point.
I'll tell you what the second or third ingredient is. It's fish meal.
Okay. I'll say fish meal is in almost every single fish food that I've ever looked at. For sure.
And there's so
Yeah. We have
the
black soldier
issue
fly
is-
larva, then salmon, then fish protein
salmon meal.
concentrate, then
Yep.
wheat.
Yeah. So, you know, people make this big deal of sustainable black soldier fly larva. They're still using a lot of salmon and fish byproducts in their foods, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like, people are like, oh, these fish don't eat other fish. Like, don't feed your beta salmon. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Fish
I
will
don't
eat
think
whatever
the
they can
difference-
eat. I feel like is kind of
Yeah. Like, you're not... Back in the 80s, people would feed their angelfish raw hamburger. We don't do that anymore. But, you know,
That's
They
such a
did that.
sight.
Like they straight up fed them 80/20
Can you give your fish
raw hamburger.
salmonella or something that way? Like,
They don't care, but um like, if I in an ideal world, if I'm feeding killifish, I'm going to be feeding them insects. I'm going to be feeding them fruit flies. I'm going to be
okay.
feeding them Daphnia.
Ooh,
Um,
I just started keeping fruit flies. I was gonna ask you about that. Like
yeah, like
that.
feed them fruit flies. Like the
Okay.
top dwelling, if you've still got those Epiplates rolophii, those things will
I
go
do.
crazy for them.
I'm trying to get a pair together for you. I've kind of had them with
Yeah,
some cichlids. I haven't been focusing on them, but I got some fry. I got some fry.
ACA.
ACA, come on, it's not. Oh, I'm just part of the ACA gang because I'm breeding cichlids. Like, come on, man.
But yeah, so like I mean, in terms of these, there isn't a lot of study being done on nutrition for ornamental fish. So like let's explicitly talk about ornamental fish right now, because I mean, if you guys want to talk about salmon, let me know and we'll swap. But let's talk about the fish that I'm assuming we're all keeping,
Sure.
which is like ornamental fish, and I'll talk specifically more on like killifish. Killifish in the wild are insectivorous small fish that kind of eat opportunistically. Some of the weirder ones, like pupfish, are omnivorous. They'll eat more vegetable matter. But protein is what grows a fish. Um, Carbs, fish don't really use.
Okay.
Like if you feed a fish carbohydrates, there are some fish that can use it, like carp. Yes, they can use carbohydrates. They can use complex and simple sugars. Salmon, not really. You're not going to be using too much
Okay.
carbo besides
So
protein sparing effects.
is that why people can get like the soybean hull snowflake food off for the
Yes.
shrimp? Because what I learned what those were, I was like, are you for real? This is like what people grow
Yeah.
mushrooms in.
Yeah. Like soybean is high in protein. There are issues with it not having the right oils. So like protein's great, right? You want, like, if we could just feed our fish off soybeans, sick. Totally awesome. Unfortunately, you have to add stuff. Salmon can't just eat soybean meal. They eventually wither away and die. They need the addition of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids,
Hmm.
which you usually get from other fish. So, these salmon can't produce. They can't elongate and this is gonna be like the salmon. Killifish and ornamental freshwater fish are usually fine in that regard because you can straight feed them like a protein without. They have some required omega-3 fatty acids, but they can elongate some of these acids into required that marine fish can't do.
Okay.
Um,
That's something I'm
which
learning more about, like the chains and all that stuff, because I was reading
yes,
some Daphnia papers, and they're like, oh, this is why
chains are horrible.
yeast
Yes.
isn't that good for Daphnia, because they can't break down this many,
Yeah,
whatever
the hoofahs
chains
and the
stuff.
poofahs.
Okay,
The
let's see.
hoofahs and the poofahs.
Okay,
The funniest part. But
okay.
so like I think there does need to be more research, but it all comes down to cost. It comes down to nutrition. Um,
So if it's
I
wheat,
don't
if
see.
it's wheat in the first four ingredients, is the food bad? Like, do I have to
I
make
don't
sure?
think so.
Does fish meal have to be the first ingredient, or like this is a terrible food, or are there like really high tier professional quality meals that like yeah wheat is high up there, but it's not a big deal?
I think. Do I have any fish food around me? I don't. Here, I have the aquarium co-op pellets. Um, so like speaking from a straight ingredient list, these are the community pellets, which I like. The ingredients are whole anchovy meal, whole krill meal, whole shrimp meal, wheat flour, fish oil, yeast, vitamins, and minerals. Like that list doesn't make me recoil in disgust, but it doesn't make me be like, hell yeah, that's incredible.
Okay.
Um, like anchovy meal is expected. Krill meal has a bunch of estation, which is good for certain. That's the carotenoid colors, so it'll make your salmon and fish more vibrantly colored.
Right.
Um, like if you feed your fish just worms that don't have a lot of estation in them, they'll just dull down. Like wheat flour is important because it's a binder. You can't just if we didn't have to use wheat flour, we wouldn't. But
Okay.
in order to keep all those pellets together, you need to bind them with something so they coagulate and
All
then
right.
get extruded in that
Let's do a
process.
quick fish food evaluation run through. Okay, ready?
Sure.
First, I have goldfish pellets. I got it in an auction for $2. It was already open for me conveniently. Uh,
Retail price.
ingredients are salmon, whole herring, wheat germ, wheat flour, shrimp, pea protein, wheat gluten, dried kelp, and that's as far as I'll go. How's that sound?
That doesn't sound bad to me.
That
Like,
doesn't
if
sound
I
bad.
wouldn't be worried. No.
Not with the wheat. You don't care?
Well, you'll have to give me the approximate proteins, ashes, and other
Okay.
stuff.
Approximate. The protein is 42%. The fat is 11. The ash is 11, and the moisture is 6.
I think that's a high protein content for goldfish, so it's probably more expensive than what you'd actually need. But other than that, sounds like a good food.
Okay. How about this? Aquatic foods, slow sinking, color enhancing granules. This is 40 to 45%
Oh, I know
protein.
that company. That's the
Yeah,
one that does the bloodworm flakes.
yeah.
Or blackworm.
They used to be aquatic foods and blackworms, like California or something like that.
Yeah.
Fiber 6, fat 4, moisture 8 to 10. The ingredients is
Oh,
fish meal,
that's a lean food.
extra amounts of krill, extra equal amounts of krill, plankton, and then plankton, shrimp meal, brine shrimp, red shrimp, and astaxanthin.
That sounds like a really good carnivore feed because of the low fat and the high protein
Okay.
and the everything. But it sounds really expensive.
It wasn't no. I don't think any of the aquatic foods things are too expensive. All right, here's another one.
um,
This is Kin's Premium Golden Pearls, 5 to 50 millimeter micron. Come on, I got the food diversity.
Golden
Let's
pearl.
let's go. Golden Pearls.
Golden pearls are a weird concept though because they're not what they used to be made. But you tell me the ingredients
Oh
first.
my gosh, they're not what they used to be. Okay, high quality fish meals, crustacean meal, purified fish oils, phospholipids, and Saxton, and then vitamins and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like a feed. It sounds like a
Okay.
aquaculture feed.
So this
if you,
this is like the most culture feed thing so far. 54%
yeah,
protein,
but
9% fat.
so you know the story behind golden pearls?
Just about them being like a larval shrimp
No, they
marine
used to
feed.
be made of baby brine shrimp.
Okay. Yeah. I only
Which
know
is
that
when they
because
were like,
Corey made Magic Feed and he's like this is like golden pearls before they started to suck because baby brine shrimp was the
yeah,
first
kind
ingredient.
of.
But then Magic Feed
Yeah.
doesn't have brine shrimp as the first ingredient, so I was kind of
I like
confused.
the magic feed. I feed it to my fish.
No,
They do great on it.
it's a good food. I just the Kin's golden pearls I can get like half a pound or something for $11, so it's kind of
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, I think like if you're really getting into the nitty gritty of foods and prices,
All right.
you're gonna be like, sure, I could be the most efficient, but if your fish, the most important thing is if your fish eats it. If your fish isn't gonna eat it, it doesn't matter. If your fish decides that it likes Ken's golden pearls more than anything else, cool.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. Palatability is like number 2. Nutrition, making sure the fish eats the food is more important than the nutrition it provides because if a fish doesn't eat the food, you can't derive any nutrition from it.
Okay, I can't argue with that. Okay, let's go. I'm getting some reactions. I love when people do the emoji reactions in the chat. We get some 100 emojis for that. Let's go. This guy's spitting.
But it's like, there's so like if in a perfect world you get all these people like, oh, I'm gonna do this food, I'm gonna make this my own food, and you're like, why? Like, cool, you can go take whole salmon, blend that up in a dehydrator. You can go
Wait, hold
do
up. I can't just mix some spirulina powder with like some chia seeds or something and I'm a genius. Like, come on.
like, cool, awesome, great for you. Like, I had this person one day, no shade on them, but it was like, oh, I'm making my own fish food. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I'd love to hear more about it. And she was like, yeah, so we take, it was like this whole list. It was like whole salmon, shrimp, chia seeds, like, and then she was like, yeah, and then I mix Repashy into it, and I'm like, so you're
Whoa,
just,
whoa,
it's,
whoa! What? You
I
put
was like,
Repashy in it? That's already the
so I was
food.
like, I'm just like saying, so you're just making Repashy.
Yeah. What the hell?
And she was like, no, it's like my own custom food and all my fish love it. I'm like, yeah, but
Okay.
why don't you just feed the Repashy? I'm like, it's the same thing and it's already
Okay.
like designed to feed your fish.
Yeah.
So that was, and it's like, yeah, cool. Like, I'm happy you're kind of getting into the DIY side of the hobby, but like at the same time,
Yeah.
you don't need to
I've
do
gotten a
that.
little bit into that. Like, I got some like Artemia meal from Aquatic Provisions, and then I got some spirulina, and then I with the chia. I did go down the chia seed like kind of a thing, and I
Yeah,
blended together,
if
and
it
I
emulsifies it,
yeah, my Congo puffers were eating what I made out of that, so I was like, that's kind of
that's
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Spirulina powder is done a lot for me, but then you do reach the point where I'm like, and this is a question that someone had in there, but I started getting really into decapsulated brine shrimp eggs, like ones I did myself and also pre-prepared ones. So Barbara asked, what do you think about decapsulated brine shrimp eggs?
Uh, I personally don't use them. Um, I think they're good. I the only reason I don't use them is because I hash brine shrimp out anyways.
Yeah.
And the thing with killifish is, with mollies and guppies, you can feed them dry right away. Killifish take a bit to take to dry. They're not as picky as people say. They're not like,
Okay.
oh, you have to feed live. I
Okay.
predominantly feed live out of my choice. Um, but they'll eat pellets just fine
Okay.
once they get to a certain
I
size.
definitely raise a lot of my killies off of like powder stuff when I inevitably neglect my microworm culture, and then I'm
Yeah, but like for
yeah.
the first week of a killiefish's life, you're probably gonna want to give them baby brine and microworms, and that's kind of just like, I'm sure they will take other stuff. In my experience, I don't have the greatest success rate, so I feed a lot more live.
Yeah.
The decapsulated is kind of just like, I guess I could decapsulate my brine shrimp eggs with bleach and do the whole thing, or I could just hatch out my brine shrimp eggs because I'm
You
doing
can
that every
buy them
day anyways.
decapsulated. I mean, you know,
Yeah, but how much is it for like a
it's not
decapsulated?
much.
Like I feed it.
I brought them from Ken's Fish. I got like a whole pound or whatever, and it was nothing. It was cheaper than the live ones. Now I have
How do
decapsulated
they?
them on my own. These were non-hatching ones I bought. I've decapsulated on my own. It only takes like 5 minutes. And my Elosoma goberti were eating the decapsulated eggs. Like a lot of live food only fish I have will eat the decapsulated brine shrimp eggs I did myself. I've had mixed
I get.
results
I mean,
with the
shit. I
prepared.
can try it.
Come on, try it. Because my thing with it's technically superior nutrition because they haven't expended any of their yolk. You know what I mean? It's the
Okay.
full
So is
egg.
it like? Is it like dry?
Yeah, it's pretty dry. Now, if you do it yourself, it's not going to be dried out the same way. But it's basically you put the eggs in bleach, you swirl them around until the shell dissolves, and if you do it yourself, you can still hatch them, and they'll hatch faster. You have a higher hatch rate, so it's still kind of nice because you could buy maybe like shittier eggs and get a better hatch rate, or
Shit.
just
I'll
feed them
I'll try.
immediately. Okay, come on. I'm trying to start the encapsulated brine shrimp egg agenda. I really rock with
I've had a couple people say it. I mean,
yeah.
my issue is it's like
And the powder, the
I'm just so
pre-prepared
lazy.
non-hatchy ones, it stays on the surface for a good amount of time, so it's pretty decent for a lot of killifish.
Yeah,
Jesse,
shit. I'll try it. I'll buy it.
come on. MK said, in all fairness, Rapashi has a super nice, convenient binder that's damn near impossible to replicate. Mixtape, can you analyze Funk's food? Can you put a picture of like a label in the Discord? And we can. Jesse said, "Whoops, didn't mean to text you while you're live. What's up, Jesse? Text me whenever, man." Taplapo says, "Can't you use gelatin to make any food solidify/paste like Rapashi?"
Kind of. Um. Yes and no. Rebecca's a phenomenal person to ask about this because she's tried to replicate Rapashi. Um, The issue is that Repashy has a binder in it that stays water soluble for much longer than gelatin. I think gelatin like kind of gets a little gross at 12 hours, like 8 to 12 hours. But in theory, you totally can. Um, I am just at that phase in my hobby where I'm like, I'll be honest, tomorrow I'm probably gonna do like 7 hours of maintenance.
Let's go.
I think like last week, like my life is full-time animal care. Like I go to work, I take care of animals, I come home, I take care of animals. I spend like 2 hours a day on feeding fish and doing fry, and then on my days off I'm spending several hours. So it's like I'm not sitting there experimenting with food. I'm like, okay, I gotta hatch out this batch of fry. I gotta hatch out this batch of fry and feed this. Like I don't have the time
Come
to be like,
on.
oh yeah, let's do this.
Well, what about I feel like live food. These days I'm experimenting with live, like fruit flies. To me, I'm kind of wondering if fruit flies is gonna be like my breakthrough, like my cheat code. Like I need to look up more about them nutritionally. But like, for instance, today I found out, oh, spirulina powder. If you get spirulina powder wet, it kind of gets sticky and slimy.
Yeah.
So I put the fruit flies in the cup and I put spirulina powder on them and I put some water, and suddenly I basically have live fruit fly pellets. It's kind of disgusting. And
No, you can
I just
do all
scoop them
this
out
stuff.
and I put them in, and now the fruit flies sink. So it's a little bit more even distribution in some of the tanks. So I experiment with the live food nutrition stuff a bit more, but it is a lot of work to like, I'm going to make this binder with chia seeds and roll it out on the sheet pan and bake it in the oven and chop it up and freeze
Yeah.
it, you know? So I get you. I definitely get you.
That's mostly it. I'm like I feed a lot of grindle worms. I feed a lot of baby
Yep.
brine. That's the bulk of my fish's diets. They seem to do really well on that. So I'm kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm
Yeah.
sure at some like the co-op makes pretty solid pellets. I also like, there's probably I could just buy canned stuff. I like supporting the co-op every once in a while too, so I don't mind buying
I mean,
stuff.
magic feeding stuff is good. It's just for me.
I really
it's
like this.
cost.
The magic nuggets.
I do want to try. I do want to try those because people are saying
I'm
that
a big fan.
they look like the Australian guy, but Bug Buffet. That's what people say it looks like.
I like these ones a lot more than the magic feed because you can just grind this into the same size.
That looks like a solid
So I
one.
do like those ones a lot. Yeah, I will recommend that one. I mean, it's really high, 55% protein. I mean, it's high in fat and protein. I won't lie, it's an expensive food. It's probably not cheap.
That's the main thing that keeps me. And then also you got shipping with them for the most part. So
yeah. So I like it. I can't say that it's the best, most economical thing to do.
Platypus in the chat says that he likes the nuggets. So freshly drowned fruit flies is what you had. Fish and Jay is asking what your preferred brand for hatching brine shrimp eggs is.
I use co-op eggs. I think they're the best ones you can buy. I know they're expensive, but they're.
I use Bean Yi Artemia eggs because they're the same as the co-op eggs.
Are they? How much are they? I'll buy some right now.
This is well, for one, no matter how much it is, this is a 9-ounce bag. Now, some people say that they have worse hatching rates with them. I think it depends on where you are. I know people that have gotten bad co-op cans. I mean, this stuff happens, but essentially what I commented on the co-op Facebook page, I asked them what species of brine shrimp their eggs were. They refused to tell me. They said it was a trade secret. So I went in this whole rabbit hole. I was looking up shipment containers and stuff, and I came to the conclusion the co-op eggs are better because they're actually because they're from China. They're Bohai Bay, I think, Artemiasis, which have different attributes to them physically, which is why they have better separation. And I went on Amazon. I found a company where the country of origin was China, and I came on BYNEE eggs. And even my most brine shrimp snob friend, he still only buys co-op eggs, but he did accept them as a good substitute. So I will say
I'll buy some of these right
they're a good substitute. But I will say, some people, You could always get a bad bag. For me, they've worked well. I like being on a by 9 ounces, but I'm
How
also
much is the price difference? So how much is the shoot? I don't have a
well.
can on me.
The time where I discovered this is when the co-op's 3.5 ounce can was like $35. So the
So
price
it's 3.5. Oh shit! I'll buy
the
some.
price
I'll buy
difference
9
was a
ounces.
lot greater. I think now the 9 ounce for these is now $40. So it's still
Yeah.
more, it's still a good cost efficiency, but it's not, as incredible as it was previously. Now that co-op has dropped down.
It comes tomorrow. Let's see how it is.
Okay, if it's terrible, let me know. I'll come on stream. I'll say, look, we sent a review and the eggs are trash. But physically, they seem to be identical. We put them under a microscope and everything. But
Better
yeah.
than Brine Shrimp Direct.
Oh, Brine Shrimp Direct is trash. That's so bad.
Yeah, it is. I know.
It's so trash. Yo, the Killifish guy, the Killifish guys near me. I love them. I bought that damn $50 can for
I gotta open the freezer.
and it was terrible. It's like sand. I hate those eggs.
Okay. All right, I have those. Will be coming tomorrow.
Okay, well, yeah, the pressure's on. Sunny G
I'll
said,
try the decap eggs too. Why not?
okay, go for it. The decap. I've been buying Ken's decap, but also I would say just decap them yourself, bro. Just don't buy the decap. Do it yourself.
Okay. I'll decap the ones I just bought from Amazon.
Exactly. It's not bad. You just need some bleach. You put it in the bleach until it gets orange, and you can put it into chlorinator because that'll get rid of the scary bleach.
Get rid of the bleach.
Exactly. So it's all good.
Okay.
See, come on. Steve said American Brine Shrimp Company, their premium eggs, very comparable. Okay, Big Steve has spoken.
Okay.
Dorsiclator said
these all in mind.
Dorsiclator said Beanie is similar, but they're stickier than the co-op in my experience. Stickier, what does that mean? But okay, good to know. Good to know. If anyone's tried any different brine shrimp eggs, please. Pond Puppy asks, ever tried Reef Nutrition TDO Chroma Boost? I have a friend that swears by this stuff. Have you tried that?
I have. It is awesome food. It's very expensive food.
Okay.
So
if you buy from Dan's Fish, you should get TDO Chroma, because you probably can afford it.
Basically. I mean, Chroma Burst is awesome, but it's also if you talk to them, they say to keep it in the fridge because it goes bad because it's got such a high moisture content. So you have to feed it out quick, but it is an awesome food. It's hysterical. They recently were like, now introducing TDO Fresh. It's the same food.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, some people, it's so funny. Some people are like, oh, I'm going to try the beanie thing. Oh, I did this when I first started streaming, and Aquarium Co-op people were really mad at me about it. And I think Corey actually addressed it, and just this is my disclaimer and a thing. He said maybe it's from a different distributor. They kind of confirmed it is the same species Artemius, but the thing with Aquarium Co-op is they say they ship them overseas in a cooled container, and then they keep them in fridges and stuff. So that's the difference. So I'll say that, but
yeah, I'll try a bunch of these brine shrimp eggs. I always need brine shrimp eggs. For 95% hatching on that American Brine Shrimp Company, it's $26 for 8 ounces. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's not saying. Listen, that's what I say. I got mad because Corey was on stream. He was like, look, the brine shrimp eggs, they barely make us any money. We're doing this. This is when they were out for a few months. We're doing this as a favor to hobbyists and stuff. So all the things combined led me down this rabbit hole where I'm like, you know what? Fuck your $35 for 3.5 ounces. I gotta find an alternative.
I mean, who can fault you? I always bought their eggs, but I am open to different.
I'll say I still think they got the best eggs still. I'll say that. I'm just not gonna pay for them. That's kind of what I say. But I don't hatch brine shrimp eggs. I don't hatch brine shrimp eggs every day. Some people, that's the most important part of their day. That hatch in the morning is what keeps them going. And I say, look, if you're that kind of person
every day.
Yeah, maybe the Aquarium Co-op. Look, if your day is gonna be ruined if you don't have a perfect hatch every morning, then I get it.
I could survive it, but it is nice.
Yeah. Steve said shipping is a little steep, so order more. So the more you order, the more you save. I think that's on the American Brine
Okay.
Shrimp Company.
We'll see how if these Amazon eggs are like just as good. I'm just gonna be like,
Let
I
me
found a new one.
let me know. Okay, so a lot about fish health, the food and stuff. We've gone through a lot, but one thing that we've like skipped over is conservation biology, which
Sure.
a lot of people that I talk to with breeding and stuff, like even a lot of breeder programs that give extra points if it's like a care species. I feel like a lot of people that breed fish are into conservation. So first of all, I want to know what conservation biology is, a little bit about what you do for work with the propagation, and then I kind of want to know what your perspective is on how hobbyists can incorporate that kind of mindset and awareness into the hobby.
Sure. So biology is as a whole is kind of a complicated thing because it's like one of those three big sciences that I tend to like physics, chemistry, biology, right? Biology has a little bit of everything. Conservation biology in a nutshell is you're essentially doing stuff to preserve or reestablish, or you can find a definition online. But what I do is my program does conservation head starting. So essentially, we take individuals from the wild, whether they're larvae or eggs, rear them in facilities, and then release them back into different areas to mix populations, mix genetics, keep the gene pools healthy. Um, but the stuff I do is pretty different from classic hobbyist level stuff because like all the animals I work with require permits. Um, if somebody is found with one of the animals that I have, they would be slapped with a very heavy fine and
Mm.
possibly something worse. Um, but in terms of hobbyist stuff, because I do herp, so I don't really even do fish, and it's a different kind of because how herps reproduce, reptiles and amphibians,
Right.
it's a little easier to do this head starting sort of thing rather than being like, oh, I'm taking this fish into captivity, breeding it, because you can't really collect fish eggs in the wild. Like there's probably some species,
When you say
but
so,
it
wait,
wouldn't.
wait. When you say head starting, that's taking eggs from the wild and then bringing them back and
Yeah,
hatching them. Okay.
it's different than captive breeding. There's kind of levels because there's ex-situ conservation where you're doing stuff in the wild. There's in-situ conservation where you're wait maybe I swapped those. Whatever. I'm bad at biologists. Um, so essentially you do stuff in the wild, then you do stuff in captivity, and then you're doing full breeding activity. Um, if you're breeding stuff in captivity, that's kind of basically a sign that this is bad, this species is going extinct, we're doing the last ditch effort. I'm kind of in the middle of those two, where a lot of the species we work with aren't like going extinct to the point where holy shit we have to do something about this. It's like we need to get ahead of the curve before this becomes worse. um so our animals, we don't breed any animals in captivity. There may be a chance that we might start a breeding program for a certain species next year, but I haven't gotten any confirmation,
So it's
and I
you're
think I'd
all
get in
head
trouble.
starting, like raising stuff, and then from eggs, and then
And then we release. Yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
and it helps because we don't have to track genetics as well, because if we were doing breeding, we'd have to know exactly how our genetics of every single animal we have and what our crosses were. So we don't do that per se. We do a bit differently with keeping things more loose, but not really. So we do so head starting. I've been pushing for captive breeding because I think it's more interesting and I think there's a lot more work we can do, but I
Yeah.
haven't gotten the permits pushed through. I have one species that I'm attempting to get a captive breeding protocol for next year. I don't know if I'm going to get it yet. I still have to wait to see how funding does. Um, and then, so yeah, but that's kind of much as I can say on that because I
Right.
didn't get permission
But
to
you got
talk about it.
basically you got to have a protocol in order for it to even become a breeding program. So in lieu of that,
Yes.
you're just taking eggs from the wild. But this is something that's obviously harder to do for fish. So, okay,
Yeah, I mean, in terms of this is like the only thing stopping us from captive breeding at that there's more bureaucracies stuck in the way. It's not necessarily something that's frowned upon, but there's been this upkeep in rearing and head starting where it's like you don't have to take animals out of the wild. You're not affecting populations in any negative way. You're merely taking what was going to probably not thrive in the first place and then expanding those options immensely. So like if there's a frog spawn mass, you're expecting 10% to hatch, 5% to reach juveniles, 2% to reach adulthood. If you take a frog spawn mass into captivity, you're expecting 95% hatch rate, 90% juvenile,
right.
and then like 85 is a low. Like you might even get 95% survival of
Wow.
adults,
Okay.
which just skyrockets that. So that's the idea behind head starting rather than captive breeding. It just takes the guesswork
Is there
and
head
the
starting
work.
in fish? Like maybe they catch some wild fish
Not
and
that I've known of.
squeeze the eggs out of them or something like.
So the difference is that would be considered breeding. So
Oh,
if you're
okay.
so if you are physically expressing the fish like what you do with salmon, that's breeding. So
As the implications of
um,
that are kind of crazy.
yeah, it's weird. You're breeding the fish because you didn't collect the fertile,
Oh,
and you'd have to know because then you'd have to know the genetics of the fish that you're crossing. Otherwise, you're not doing the right scientific methods.
okay.
Um, so if you because that's why you get away with head starting. You're like, oh, these eggs were probably fertilized by the correct gene pool, and we don't need to research to figure it out because there's
Okay.
no way to know. They do genetic work eventually,
So if
but
you define conservation biology, it's not stealing eggs from the wild. Like, what's your definition?
my definition would be working to restore certain natural regimes to healthy states.
Okay.
So, like, if you're restoring salmon runs, if you're restoring native frog populations, if you're restoring ecosystems to how they were before dams were, that's kind of what I think is conservation. There's a lot of negative terms about the word conservation and conservative, right? Just because of how it is.
Right.
But with conservation biology, you're essentially protecting and conserving the ecosystem that already exists there. There's a different branch to that called restoration biology, where you're
Okay.
restoring what used to be there, which is it's like a branch of like you can just go down like biology, ecology, conservation biology, restoration biology, ecosystem restoration. Like you can get as
Right.
specific as you want.
Pond Puppy said my ponds are restoring mosquitoes.
Yeah, like they can be something. There's also a lot of invasive species. Like we have a lot of bullfrog issues around us, and you can't reintroduce an animal into an area where there's bullfrogs. You have to restore that habitat first. So there's a lot of steps to take. I'll skip kind of to fish because I think I have a controversial opinion
I'm here.
in terms of conservation of fish.
Let's
I
go.
think when hobbyists come to the realization that they're breeding fish that are rare or endangered in the wild, they should give up on the idea of what they're doing is helping save the species in the wild, because it's not.
Mm.
Um, the what you as a hobbyist can do is maintain the opportunity to have something exist in the world at large rather than restoring something that originally happened. Like there's a lot of examples of conservation for aquarium fish where people are like, well, there's a lot of endangered species. Like let's talk about like white cloud mountain minnows. Certain species of white cloud mountain minnows highly endangered.
Yeah.
Red tail sharks highly endangered if not extinct in the wild. Those are two examples that are mass bred in captivity. So it's like they exist, but you're not like if you're like I'm gonna breed red tail sharks to help conservation. You're not. It's like, that's great, honorable of you, but you're not going to. The one example that was like, oh, this worked is Zoogeneticus tequila, right?
Yeah.
The tequila split fin.
Why
That
is
one is
that?
like the
Why is it that it won't
so
work?
so let's think about it. So let's take a fish. I'm gonna be controversial. Let's say wild betas. Um, so you're like wild betas. They're very endangered in the wild. They're almost extinct in some of their native ranges. You're breeding it in your home. Are you tracking the parent lineage? Do you know where those parents came from?
I just know
Like,
what wherever I bought them from, what they told me they came
yeah.
from. So
Do you
that
think?
could be
Do you
true or
know?
not.
Do those people know where they came from? Where did those people get them? Where did those people track those fish down from when they were caught in the wild to where they are now? How many times were they bred together? What were they bred with? Were they ever hybridized? You have to know all these things. And then, okay, sure, cool. You figured it out. You have pure beta chinoides from this location. Time to release it. How long has it been in captivity? Has it been 5 generations, 4 generations, 20 generations? There's a recent paper that came out talking about the domestication of beta chinoides where they have had physical and morphological traits altered enough to be considered a domesticated strain rather than a wild type strain.
Wow, already.
So cool. We're how where are we now? We're at the species of fish bred in captivity for decades. It's probably not genetically pure, but the thing is, you shouldn't be looking at that like you're releasing it back into the wild. The thing you should be is like, I'm keeping this fish around for the benefit of the hobby and the others around me. Like, I'm kind of a pessimist when it comes to how our world is being shaped in terms of conservation. Like,
Right. Well, wait.
there's
Let
two
me jump on
sides.
your trade real quick and just say, so the betas especially, it's like you may be conservative for the wild, but that habitat is not gonna be there. You know what I mean? You're gonna
My
maintain it.
favorite
Then the habitat's gonna be
story is
gone. So how can you release them?
there's a beta simplex type that was discovered. The type locality was taken into a museum. They went back the next year. It was a Baskin Robbins. Like,
No way, bro.
yeah, and you're like, okay,
A basket
you know,
robbers. Could be like a
and
hospital
it's
or
like,
something.
yeah, and they're like, oh, so like that habitat's not there.
That's
Your
terrible.
first concern, your first concern is not, I gotta breed this fish for reintroduction. The habitat's not there. No, no, no. Breed the fish so it exists. Breed the fish so you can continue to have it in the hobby,
Right.
because my opinion is some people are like, oh, we shouldn't collect this fish. We should just let it go extinct. I think those people are morons. Like, I'll speak harshly there. I'm like, I would rather, and I'm not saying go out and collect endangered fish that are protected. Don't do
Right.
that.
Right.
That's highly illegal and very wrong. But
Right.
if this fish exists in the hobby, was taken in legally, and is just like not common at all, breed it for yourself and others, um, because you're not going to be releasing it back into the wild. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say. In terms of my nothos, I'm never going to be releasing. So Nothobranchius flammicomantis is endangered. Nothobranchius corthousii is critically endangered. Nothobranchius patrizii, least concerned. Actually, that one doesn't matter. Like, a lot of these species are critically endangered, and the difference is I'm breeding them to make them people aware of their existence, not to go out and save their native habitat. Like, I'd love to do that, and sure, that might be in my future.
Right.
But, this fish is being bred so you see what there is out there, what you can work with, what you can see, what exists. That's the conservation I advocate for, rather than I'm going to breed a fish and then send it to Indonesia for release back into the wild. Like, I don't
Right.
think that's
That makes
realistic.
sense. Breed it so it exists. By the way, I just want to let you guys know we like to say we're the hardest working fish stream here. Like the level of research I do while we're talking and stuff. Smart person put beta SP rum raisini in the chat. It took me like a few minutes of researching while I talked to realize that's an ice cream flavor that he co-opted into a fish name for the Baskins and Robbins location.
They should do that.
You
That
motherfucker!
great.
Beta SP rum raisini. It's so crazy.
Species daiquiri ICI.
God damn.
But yeah, like there are these things, and like I think it's important to have this kind of, oh, I'm keeping a species alive, but I think it's important to stay cognizant of, like, I'm not the one to save this species. I'm the one to make it so everybody else, like we as a group of individuals as hobbyists, make people aware of the things that are worth saving, rather than like, I'm gonna do this. Like, if you do want to do that, more power to you. We need you. Go do it. I would love that. But little Timmy who wants beta chinoides, he should get beta chinoides because he wants to keep them and look at them and breed them, not because he needs to save the world.
Right. Shout out to little Timmy. By the way, Mick said, yep, we can maintain the DNA and spread knowledge so the next generation has something. So we have something left for the next generation. And then MK said, CARES is for the hobby, though, for hobbyists to maintain good examples of fish in the trade. As far as I know, CARES for a lot of SB has specific criteria for registry, including lineage, hashtag, locality, etc.
Yeah, I mean, we can still talk about locality in terms of killifish. I have several killifish with localities. But there are also the issue with a lot of this stuff is, like, we don't know the full effects of captivity on some of these species. And, if somebody in Africa one day is like, Matthew, I know you have this specific location of Nothobranchius and we need your help to reclaim this species, I would be dumbfounded and cry on the spot out of joy. But, like, there's not a lot of... I feel like you don't have to have that level of expectation. I feel like if somebody is like, this is an awesome fish and I want people to see that it's an awesome fish, I think that's what we should be focusing on.
Pond Puppy says something that brings up a question I was going to ask next. They said the Phosphorus Genetic Stock Center at Texas State University has been inbreeding for over 80 years. And my question that's related to that is, I have a friend who thinks inbreeding isn't as big of a deal as people make it out to be. And it seems like with a lot of what you deal with, lineages and tracking all that is very important. So like when people talk about breeding and inbreeding and that genetic diversity, what does that all mean to you?
It depends on... So genetics are a very complicated topic that I wish I knew more about. In terms of strictly killifish, nothos and annuals seem highly resistant to inbreeding. Because of how they evolve, the population gets isolated into a small area and it dries up and then just kind of inbreeds and speciates very quickly.
Right.
In terms of other stuff, like the devil's hole pupfish, most inbred vertebrate on the earth, it doesn't have any pectoral fins anymore. Or okay. No. It doesn't have any ventral fins anymore, so it's the equivalent of a fish without legs.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But that's what makes that species a species now. So they actually tried to revitalize the genome with another species, and then it grew ventral fins, and they were like, oh shit, it's not the devil's hole pupfish anymore, so they had to get rid of it. So wow. Inbreeding, I think, is a more complicated topic. Inbreeding is the way we get guppy strains. If we didn't inbreed, we wouldn't have guppy strains.
Right.
So
do I need to keep adding new bloodlines to my fish? Like if I have, for instance,
depends on the fish.
Okay, well, let's say like a wild type beta. Should I just keep buying wild type betas, or are they gonna be fine?
I wouldn't. I mean, like, so when you say wild type betta, you mean like a specific species
What
of the
about what about the
locality?
chanoids? By the way, Jorsa said, speaking of chanoids, anyone got an extra female for sale? So if anyone can help them out.
I used to have 40. I have now 50 in a bucket. If you let me know in 6 months, I'll give you a bunch.
All right. Hey, Weeks is in the Discord, people. So if you want the bucket fish, hit him up.
I'm giving Gurp from FishWiki a pair for. He still owes me $50. That little.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Yo.
If you want a pair before he pays me $44, they're yours.
Yeah, I gotta drag Gurf on stream here one day sometime. That'll be fun.
He would be an interesting.
He's gotta be a crazy individual. I've only talked to him a little bit. He bought isopods for me way back in the day, and
he's a guy, all right.
come
I
on,
played D&D with him once.
oh shit. Hey, biggest fish Discord owner, Gurf. Shout out to Big Gurf. Come on.
No, he doesn't own Aquatica.
Oh, Aquatica, is that what it is? Okay. Fish. I
Yeah,
thought
think that
FishWiki was the
12.
biggest.
No, because FishWiki is 5,000 people.
Okay.
And then Aquatica is 12,000.
Second biggest. I'm not in Aquatica. I gotta go there and get.
I don't think it's that. I don't know too much about it. I just joined it because I saw the tag.
Oh yeah, you're only known for Fish for Thoughts Discord. You know, the paid one.
Dude, I am shocked. Whoever that was that said that.
Your reputation precedes you.
You must have seen some things. You must have seen my the time I got nuked live on stream.
Hey, let's go. Oh, you got nuked live on stream. That's why people would remember.
No, it wasn't live on stream. It was just live on Discord chat
Okay.
one day.
Hey, I'd remember
like
anything that happened in the Discord I paid money to be in. Okay, I can't.
I didn't pay money to be in it. That's why I think they're mad at me.
Platinum Aquascapes 8163 said, "I've been in the Fish for Thought Discord since 2018. I saw some things." Okay, so we just got a veteran.
I only lasted a year, so I was ousted.
We got a veteran. I think that's something. It's interesting because a lot of people ask, especially on live streams, like, does Weeks do any content and stuff? And I think that's one of the reasons why I like having you on. Is like the Discord is. Fish community is kind of its own underbelly. Like, I'm kind of in like the YouTube small live stream channel like circuit, but the Discord thing is its own. Like, there's tons of people like, oh yeah, like this guy's known across 30 Discords. Like,
yeah, I mean the thing is, and speaking on content creation really quick, I guess it's the thing is like I very much value. Like there's aspects of the hobby that people kind of lay into. Like there's the Discord hobby, which is, it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's like the peak of Discord or the peak of fish keeping. There's the Facebook groups, which are much older.
Yeah.
But like I have to say, like, if any of you ever have the opportunity to go to in-person events, please go. It is just the act of talking with somebody face to face.
Yeah.
Same with like these live streams. Like, if you ever go to AKA, I'll be there. I go to everyone. It's the best time. I literally plan my AKA trips 6 months in advance. They are a blast.
Let's go.
But like, I just think if you want to see like the best side of the fish hobby, you gotta go to a small convention. Like Aquashell is great. I know many people who love Aquashella, but like my favorite convention is Waco, which is the Wisconsin area Killifish organization, and the name is not lost on me. Do not worry. So
we got Baca and Waco. This is going crazy.
Whenever I tell people I'm going to Waco, they're like, "For what?" I'm like, "Shut up." But it's like a small, close-knit community. The people are awesome. They talk. It's just fish talk. It's just great. Sometimes you get some old people who say some weird, out of place stuff. But like,
yeah,
in-person events. That's my level of where I interact with my community.
Yeah. Most of my best Discord
I
friends are people I know from local
Yeah,
stuff. So
like those local events. I kind of wish I could have. I was gonna go to the Clash Latin last year. I didn't end up going because of things. Um, but I love going to these in-person events, meeting people. That's the best part of the clubs, of the
for sure.
content. That's my content creation
There
in
you go.
my
See, hey,
events.
nothing beats the in-person stuff, especially the chance to like go to someone's fish room or have them come to your fish room, and then actually like look at stuff with you, and you can discuss it while it's in front of you. Like that's one of the most exciting things about the in-person stuff. For me, is that's kind of what it leads to. You make friends and you actually hang out outside of club meetings and hey, what's this problem I'm having with my fish? Oh, I'll come over and look at it. Like, can you identify this plant? Let me come count nodes with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, or you like meet somebody and they're like, "You want to go to Africa?" And you're like, "Hell yeah!"
okay, hold up, hold up.
Like, there's just these things that happen when you get these connections, and I'm sure they happen too with YouTube. I don't have the time in my current life. I commute about an hour and a half each way to work, so I'm gone from about 7 to 8 p.m. And when I get home, I feed my fish out, and then it's 9 p.m. I have school work. Sometimes I go to sleep, and so my days are like, sometimes I wish I had more time to do more content creation.
Yeah,
It might be a possibility, but it's just something that, like, if you want to get in contact with me, the best way is either like ghosting or like stalking me on Facebook and messaging me there,
yeah.
messaging me on Discord. I've had people just cold DM me on Discord, and I'm like, "Who are you?"
Hey, listen, it's bound to happen after this. This guy, look, Mick says that the fish cult lives and breeds in Waco. Oh man, okay, we stumbled onto something here.
If any of you ever have the chance and you're in the U.S. to go to the Wisconsin area Killifish show in November, it's a great time. It's very laid back. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. The only things nearby are a really bad steakhouse and a McDonald's, but it's a really good time. And
Hey,
there's tons of really cool fish stores around. So you just rent a car.
the
So you can
McDonald's there, I
go
can
around.
get my nuggets and a hot fudge sundae. That sounds good to me.
That's literally like I ate at the McDonald's and then I would go out to dinner with some of these guys. But like the Killifish clubs just have a special kind of vibe to me. I think these
Yeah,
older organizations are really just something special. The newer
yeah.
clubs are great too, depending, but like I'll talk to some guy and he's like, "Yeah, I've been keeping fish for 50 years. I've bred 130 species." And you're like, "What the heck? Like, tell me more."
Yep.
It's just,
The first one of the first club events I went to was the Mid Atlantic Killifish Association. Those are still some of my favorite fish keepers that I've met. Just they know so much. They've been keeping fish so long. A lot of them are like retired lab rats. You know, a lot of scientists,
yeah.
killifish keepers.
I
So
was a Yeah, it's like I was this high earning
yep,
computer engineer, and then I
yeah,
was like, I just
yep,
wanted to do fish.
yep.
Like, I
Pretty
know
much.
so many people. Like, who was I chatting with? I don't know if you've ever heard the name Ron Harland, but he's
Okay.
down in SoCal. And if you talk to him, it's just like this book of like he's these old guys are some of the most interesting people because they grew up in like
Yeah.
the 50s and 60s, and you're like, what the hell was it like back then?
Yeah.
Um, so
No,
highly
100%.
recommend those events.
One of my, but like, I think what I had the most inspiration and kind of as I'm consolidating my fish room, like species wise, is I went to Chris Diaz's house. That's where I got the Epiplates from. And he had a
I
big
feel like
house.
I've met him.
You probably, he goes to Waco and stuff. You definitely met him.
I
I think
might have
he's been a Killy guy for a long time. But I went to his house and he had like a very nice house. Like the lawn was incredible. Like the door was like 1 billion feet tall. And like I'm going through, I'm like, there's so much space for fish in here. And his fish room was like one rack. You know, he had a nice.
Oh, the classic Kelly
Yeah, he had
closet.
a nice system on it. Like around it was all rooms that were like not being used for anything. Like the house was bigger than it seemed like it needed to be.
I'd
But
be a horrible person where I'd have an entire
it
fish
was
house.
so
I
it
would.
was so restrained. That was like inspiration to me. I was like, okay, this is like my OG. Like, do it right. Don't do it quality over quantity. You know what I mean?
When I still live with my parents because saving money in California and the Bay
Yeah,
Area.
I'm with
When
you.
I move out, I'm buying when I get an apartment, um, one of those rooms is a fish room, the other room is a bedroom,
There you
and
go.
whoever gets to deal with me for the rest of my life, welcome to your hell.
There you go. Come on, or heaven, maybe.
I
Listen,
know.
the fish
Find
baddies are
yourself,
out there somewhere. Come
find
on,
yourself
they're out there
girl.
somewhere for you. The fish keeping baddies. Come on, they're out there somewhere.
I keep inviting all these people to the fish events. I'm like, come on, be under the age of 35.
I just started a fish TikTok account. Like sometimes I see some fish baddies, so I'm like, are they really into the fish, or is this a pipeline to something else?
Are you just trying to sell your cryptocurrency to me? What are you doing with a beta fish?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Come on. I know that all this cleavage is for the beta fish. Come on. Wet thighs 9620 said. Speaking of which, sorry, Wet thighs is asking, show your minnows, Weeks.
Uh, they are so they
What
are
are
in
they
a
speak?
bucket.
What minnows are these?
I don't know who you are, but I have. So my other thing that I have that isn't a killifish is I have. Speaking of that importer, he brings in a bunch of oh my gosh, Ospharioichthyes, so the minnows from China. So he brought in a
Okay.
bunch of bitterlings. So I have
Ah.
some. So I have Sinorhodeus, Microlepis, and then I have, gosh, Achilognathus, Tokeniensis, and then I'm not even gonna say the Parvis, S. Parvis. So I have a bunch of minnows in a bucket. You can see that yellow lid
Yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah,
ground.
yeah. Yeah, I see that.
My minnows are in that bucket.
Oh, nice. That looks humane. I like it.
They're doing great.
By the way,
um,
all the Discord people are hilarious. So you're like, I don't know who Wet Thighs is. So we got 3 different answers. So Wet Thighs says it's me, HSG. Then Featherfin says that's
it's
LaFussy from
Hillstream guy.
Discord. And then
Why
MK
is your
said,
name that?
and then MK said,
That's horrible.
MK said, Wet Thighs is exactly who you'd think you'd be. Weeks. So we got 3
I would
answers.
think if I was gonna guess, it wouldn't have been Hillstream guy. It would have been like, oh no, some other weirdo.
uh, Gastromizon guy, Featherfoot said, Dwarf Cyclidian said, this guy and his bucket fish. Come on, man. You don't got no bucket fish? Come on. Where's the
I
bucket fish?
got plenty of bucket fish. Plenty of bucket fish.
Oh, shit. Let's go. Yo, is that takeout or you
They
just got some
are.
fish?
There's fish in there. I just hatched out a bunch of species of nothos, which I've been having poor luck with the fry for some reason, so I gotta work on that. I'll have to send some pictures of my calopanchecs because those are gorgeous.
Yeah, I definitely want to see those. I definitely
And I'm
want to see
gonna have to
those.
work on them because apparently me and some other guy are the only people in the U.S. with these strains right now, and I'm very pressured to do well with them. But yeah, no, the minnows are in the bucket. I promise I'm getting a 20-gallon up for the minnows eventually, and then I will post a how to strip your bitterlings of their eggs and milt
Oh,
for you.
you're not gonna like 3D print some clams or
Nah.
some shit like
I'm gonna hand Jorka bitterling.
what the hell? So you're gonna mate with the bitter. You're gonna manually mate the bitter leads instead of just providing
I'm
them
gonna do that.
a clam for them to rape.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do that scene from Caddyshack with the
I'm glad
plastic
I don't know.
explosives.
I,
You've
I,
never seen Caddyshack?
I haven't
Alright.
seen a lot. I haven't seen a lot of movies. I'll be honest.
It's an older movie, but it's like Mr. Rabbit, me, Mr. Squirrel.
Okay. Pond Puppy says,
So,
take my A spillation. Only 2 males in America.
What is that? Aphysimian?
No, I think it's like a.
Give him the MK.
It's like
He
a
wants
lamprey.
bitterlings.
Aplochilichthes spillation. Banded
You
lamprey.
only have 2 males?
Yeah. He's been in the chat before to talk about it.
you have a pair, I'll take a pair, but I'm not gonna take two
That's
males.
the problem. Now, what about the fish that can like they can switch? They could switch sexes. Like maybe that'll happen eventually. I don't know. Take your chance.
That'd be crazy if there were some hermaphrodite. Well, there are. There's rivulus, but those don't count. Those are weird.
Dorsiclidia said hand jork is insane. Hand jork in the bitter leaves. What the hell?
You should see all these discords that delightful adventures of everything happens.
I'm scared.
We have somebody, I don't think he's in here, but he did recently hand spawn his Tanakia bitterlings, and he got eggs and fry. They just didn't do very well.
The
So it's possible.
I've done to that is the most success I had with rice fish is when they had the eggs. I stripped them of the eggs, and I was like, this is.
Oh really? Okay.
This is way easier.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to strip mine. I'll be honest. I mean,
it was way easier. I saw some videos of some older people doing it, so I was like, okay, it's okay. The old people are doing it. You know what I mean?
my Cynorhodeus are so far away from spawning, so the only ones are the Tonkinensis, but those are apparently pretty fragile. So I don't have the room to spawn them yet either, because I have to spawn a bunch of Nothos right now.
Yeah, that's the challenge, is having the space. Like I spawned something, now I gotta have the space to grow out the fry. Like the Galaris, I want to do the next round, but I got like 30, 40 of them. That are like the 2 inches. I gotta get them in like a 20 long or something. I can't keep them in this, or I don't want to keep them in this 10-gallon. I don't have like an auto water change setup or something. So, it's.
I wish I had a 20-gallon.
Yo, this. I wish I had a 20. If he got a 20-gallon, he'd be hand jorking all the fish. Oh my god,
dude! I'd be doing so much with a 20-gallon.
We got the aquaculture freak off 24/7.
Yeah, like I would be breeding so many more pup fish than I currently am. So many people are asking for these pup fish, and I just don't have space to make more.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, shit. I've kept you here almost 3 hours. How you feeling?
No worries. I'm good. If there's any final questions.
Yeah. Okay. People. Let's get in your final questions for Matthew. If I missed it earlier, if you want to know about his fish jerk-off technique, whatever the question is.
I haven't done it yet, so it's all gonna be. It's like first time for everyone.
Oh, theoreticals. This is like quantum physics or something, like.
Yeah, it's just like how the normal first dates go.
Okay. Dorsiclidia asks, what pup fish do you have?
I currently have Saprinodon beltrani and Garmanella pultra. Oh, actually, that's a lie. I also have Saprinodon variegatus hubsii, which is the Lake Eustis pup fish.
Okay. Very cool.
But those ones, the beltrani are Mexican. The Garmanella and beltrani are both Mexican pupfish, and then the variegatus hubsii are a Florida species.
Nice. MK says, centricids are genuinely easy to strip. Going to play around with stripping Cyprinella this summer if I can find any. You want any F1s?
I wanted the Rathbunai to send to Canada, but you couldn't catch those, so I'm good.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, look at the little shade. You couldn't catch them. Fish NJ asks, question for weeks. How do you filter your tubs/totes?
I use sponge filters for everything or no filters. The thing that's nice about killifish is they come from really oxygen poor environments and they don't need as much. I won't lie. I don't recommend my style of keeping to anyone because it takes way too long.
Way too long?
Yeah, because I do manual water changes with a single siphon by hand.
Yeah,
on all of these, 50% every week. It takes me 7 hours a day. Don't do that.
Terrible idea. I'm doing a similar thing. Not as big of water changes, but I don't got anything automated.
I used a python once, and then it gave all my fish a disease, and then I stopped using the python because I don't know what it was, but now I'm paranoid.
Interesting.
So I don't do it.
Oh,
but so when I move out, which hopefully will be in like a year or two, I will be setting up, hopefully, some auto water changes, or at the very least, a dedicated Python system to make it
Yeah.
a bit easier on me.
Okay. What talk about the no filter a bit, because I've been playing around with some fry tanks that are like, I got some moss in there and maybe just doing air. I haven't gone like full nothing, but there's a few smaller tanks I just do air in.
So don't. So the only time I would say go no filter is like a tank full of Java moss and then one pair of fish. Like it doesn't take a lot to run. Like I have right now a tank on my dresser that's no filter, no substrate, just moss and Flammacomantis, and there's like 10 fish in there,
Yeah.
and they seem to be doing fine. I don't know if I'd recommend it because it's so easy just to pop a sponge filter in there.
That's
Um,
and the ones that just have air, it's just I just haven't put a. I'll put a sponge filter on them eventually, but you know.
yeah, like you're at the end of the day, like I have fish in Tupperware. They should be in Tupperware 2 weeks max, and then they should be gone. So, you know, I'm not crazy like, oh, no filter ever. When you're breeding fish, you need to do water changes. It's just a
Okay.
fact of life.
Yeah.
You need you need new fresh water so the fish grow and they don't die. I just lost a batch of
Yeah.
Corthousii, which I'm pretty bummed about. Like I don't know what happened, and they just
Yeah. That sucks.
so
I'm sorry. The
no,
the
you're good.
the,
It
the growth
happens.
the
Life.
growth rate difference with the water changes is undeniable though.
Yep.
And like move. I've been trying to move fish to a bigger tank as quickly as possible because that seems to make a huge difference as well. Just like
Yeah,
having more space.
definitely.
We got Wet Thighs says we will all be jerking our bitterlings this summer. It's a hot bitterling summer. Holy. MK said the drought fucked up the rat bunai populations in the area. Talked to a few others. It's never been this hard to find some. And Fisher and Jay on the Python said most likely an antibacterial liner ? I had a hose with antibacterial liner that killed all fish in my 20 long and a few from my smaller tanks. Ooh, that's a new fear unlocked. Actually.
That's interesting. I
I was
haven't had
scared.
that.
Because maybe my hose
My theory.
is the problem.
So my theory is I did the water change sometime in like winter last year, and I don't think I temp matched, and I think I just cold shocked my fish.
Okay.
And then I think they just developed illness from being cold shocked.
Okay.
That's my theory. I'm very paranoid. I sterilize everything with 91% alcohol at this point, so
Right. Okay.
everything should be killed.
Okay. A couple fish said, I need some bitterlings to jerk. And I said, this is getting out of hand, no pun intended. This is getting crazy.
We can, you should just ask him. He's in
Whoa, what?
Becca's Discord.
No, what? We got a bitterly jerky master? We got a reference?
If you want some bitterlings, we could probably just
This is crazy.
probably organize that export for you.
Across
Shouldn't
state
be
lines?
because I think Couple of Fish is Alaska, so in theory it's possible.
Yeah, okay. To Alaska. Not wrong. Smart person said, yeah, not easy to temperature match with a python. Mick said, if maintained good and if you have proper and functional gravel bed, you can go longer without water changes. Okay.
It'd be nice, but unfortunately, if I used the gravel, my nothos would just spawn in the gravel and not spawn anywhere else.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. I'm kind of a newbie, but I'm starting to realize they'll spawn in anything. So that's.
They spawn in anything.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be a problem.
They'll spawn if you have mulm, they'll spawn in the mulm.
Okay. Any last questions for weeks? And by the way, speaking of, have you looked into any like the annuals? Like any of them, their eggs actually develop in water eventually at all? Because that's something I'm kind of curious.
There is one rumored genus, and it's a subgenus in Nothobranchius called Aphobrachius.
Okay.
And that in that genus, it is theorized that the eggs can do direct development in water.
Okay.
I've never seen it. I've only read about it from like a 1970 production of JACA, which is a Journal of American Killifish Association.
Right.
But in theory, that happens. I do know of the opposite, where I know there's some rivulus species that lay their eggs in water, and what happens is the water goes down, and then the eggs go through an air phase above the water,
Yeah.
as it sinks, and then the water goes back up and they hatch out. So it's not quite like dry up completely.
Gotcha.
So there's some weird rivulets that do that. In terms of annuals, for the most part, the kind of classification of an annual is that their eggs do undergo some sort of drying period.
Gotcha. George Cyclidia said, my Australorhynchus like spawning in the mulm too with the crying emoji. Oh no.
Yep.
That,
Yeah, you must have a deep mulm bed to be spawning Australorhynchus in mulm.
yo, that's what we call a swamp tank. We kind of got a meme around
Yeah.
here about swamp tanks. It's kind of started as like a derogatory, like a father fish, deep substrate, no water change, resurrection jar, like kind of a thing.
There's some, there's truth to everything, and then there's taking the myth too far.
Yeah.
It's an interesting hobby these days. I'm more of like, I do a lot of water quality for work, so I'm like, I'll do the bare minimum at home. It
Yeah.
works. Water is water, as long as it's cool.
I like some of the stuff like father fish, because I've kind of like tried to read into like, can I find something interesting? And sometimes you'll talk about like, oh, if you have enough diversity, like there's some things that eat certain parasites, or like some of the like ick or stuff in its different stages. And like I'll read about it, like, okay, there's something to this. Like you can have some stuff in your filter that's eating these different life stages of different things in there, but then do I go out to any old body of water and get some mud out the water and then dump that into my tank after? You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily like A to B. Interesting concepts, but the application maybe not so much advised.
Yeah, I think this hobby runs into the issue of sometimes things do really well for one person, and then they tell everybody else to do it, and then it kind of spirals out of hand. That was what happened with Diana Wallstead, but she submitted a updated version of her book clarifying things, so she did what I think is the correct way that how it works.
I still think the Wallstead method, even in its updated form, it's like, okay, but why would I ever want to keep a tank like that? Like, I'd like to keep a good amount of fish in a tank. I don't want to keep like 3 Neocaridina.
If it works, it works.
Like that to me is like, this is like her personal project she set out to like research and prove. But I'm still kind of curious how that became so much bigger. Everyone's like, I want a Wallstead. Well, I do. My theory is, it's the less water changes and stuff aspect is mostly what people gravitate towards. But like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seems, it works. I do bare minimum breeding tanks because I'm a breeder first and foremost, and then I have a really tiny. I have to find it before we go. I'm gonna show you my little tiny tank that I'm really excited to fuck with.
Let's go. Come on, put a betta in it. I dare you.
I kind of want to.
Come on. Oh shit! It's got a background.
I got this little. It's like a 2-gallon.
Oh shit!
But I got it from my club auction for $15.
No, that's cute.
And it's an all-in-one, so it's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's got bio. Okay, what the fuck? It's got biopulse
Right?
in a 2-gallon. What is this?
It's got like a gallon thump. It's
Okay,
awesome.
I'm sorry. The filtration is insane on that. What in the world?
I'm so excited to play with this. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but it's so much.
I like how it looks very light. I like that about that. I like how light it looks.
Yeah, it's all acrylic.
Yeah.
These these random Chinese tanks I love. They're like, what is this? This is so cool.
Yeah. Platinum said the Wallstead became big because people are lazy. I mean, that's kind of my theory on it.
I agree.
That's my theory on
I
it.
think people misinterpreted what it actually was, which was the idea like how much can you push a closed ecosystem rather than like, oh, this means we don't have to do work ever.
Yeah. My summary of like the water change discussions is basically we just need to change some wording. Like instead of saying you have to do water changes, it's just you should do water changes, because I feel like the benefits of water changes is pretty solid. You should do them. But maybe you can get away with not changing your water for a very long time. Your fish are fine. So, but when you say people have to do something, they have this response for like, no, I don't. I blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, instead of that, let's just say you should, because that's a much more solid stance that I can take. It's like it's hard for you to prove that you shouldn't do water changes. You know.
It's easy to call someone a moron online. I won't lie. Like, you know, it happens to the best of us. In person, it's a lot easier to be like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what I think. Here you go.
Yeah,
Maybe do this. Try
a
this
lot
out.
a lot of love for your tank, by the way. Someone said that's a Timu tank. Someone said that's a kind of dope. It's actually self-contained, and
It's a cool. It is a cool little Timu tank. I'm so excited because, like, I feel like a lot of the time people these days are like, "Oh, you can't keep shit in that tank." I'm like, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna keep a rare killifish nobody's ever heard of in this tank.
Yeah, come on, let's go. George Seclatus said
Like,
perfect isopod tank. Okay, let's come on, isopod agenda.
I'm gonna put a pair of Rivulus Ophidius in here just to torture everybody. Like, oh, fish that nobody else has, just in this little shitty Timu tank.
Is it shitty? It's got its own bioball facility.
Well, I haven't tried it yet. I don't know how strong the light is. It looks kind of not great.
It looks like a damn smoke detector up in that bitch.
I know. But, you know, we'll see.
I gotta start doing that beep.
Got it for free.
That low battery beep.
I got this tank from turning in BAP submissions
Okay.
to my own program, so I didn't. My friend was like, "Do you want to sign your own BAP submission?" I'm like, "No, sign this for me."
I didn't talk. We'll have to talk about. You're gonna have to come on again and talk about some BAP stuff, because
sure.
I definitely got a lot to say there. But Plato said Vector from Despicable Me tank. That's funny. It does look like that.
Great. I'll do that. Somebody send me a Vector figure. I'll put it in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look. Let me let you go. It's almost been 3 hours. This has been a fantastic stream, Weeks. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah. No. Thanks for having me. It was a blast. Chatting was a great time.
Okay. What do you have to leave people with? Any final words before we part?
Keep more killifish. There's a killifish for everybody. If you can't find a killifish that you want, I'll be in this Discord. I'll help you find a killifish you want. If you ever want an annual killifish, I will get you an annual killifish.
Let's go.
Other than that, great time. Awesome chatting with you. Really enjoyed it.
All right. Well, everyone, you can join the Discord. Weeks is in there. A lot of you seem to already know him from Discord, and yeah, Weeks, thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon. You'll definitely have to come on again. Have a good rest of your evening.
A good one.
All right, take it easy. All right. I'm doing that thing real quick where usually after we do the interviews, I still will talk with the chat for like a second. Just want to say a couple things before I read the chat. So if you guys have any comments on how that went and all that. That was so much fun. I'll say that. Shout out to Weeks. I asked him the other week if he would come on. I've talked to him a few times. Like, I think I talked to him in Fish Wiki first, and then Rebecca's Discord. You know, we're both in the Killifish. We kind of had some back and forth. He seemed like a real funny dude. So, also knowledgeable. And I just kind of had the thought, like, shit, I need to have Weeks come on stream. I think that would be a fantastic conversation, and I'm not gonna lie, it seemed like it was. So I appreciate you guys. If you're on the replay crew, shout out to you. Please leave a comment. Let Weeks know what you thought and your reactions to things. If you're in the Discord, please show some appreciation in the Discord for Weeks. Shout out to Weeks. I feel like he came in and put almost 3 hours in on the first live stream appearance. I don't think he does this often, so come on. Not everyone can hang with the hardest working fish stream. We've been up in here. Also, Sutton appreciates you, said, just want to say thank you for always having something different on every live. I get bored with a lot of creators because, to be honest, they're the same shit every day and no new topics. Thank you, Nick. That's why we're the hardest working fish stream. It's not just about the hours and stuff. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm trying to be the change that I want to see in the world, and I had the same frustration. So I try to keep a good mix of stuff around here. So I'm glad that you liked it. George Seclidius said W Glaze. Wait, what? George Seclidius said great guest. Toplatypus said another great stream with a great guest. Very nice. Platinum said great time. MK said thanks for the stream. It was great to listen to. Appreciate you guys holding it down in the chat big time. So like, comment, let everyone know what you appreciate. I'll be back again. I can't promise every stream is going to be this great, but I'm trying to have a couple more guests on in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, that to look forward to. Any last questions, thoughts, concerns? W stream. Sunny said Killifish Army. That's right, the Killifish Army. We're all a part. At least we should all be a part of the Killifish Army now, at the very least. Anything coming up that I need to talk about? No, I think we covered it. Listen, 2 streams in one day, banger after banger. Okay, banger after banger. Vic said I'll leave a music vid for you in the Discord. Okay, no coke. Yeah, I haven't done cocaine, but calm down. I guess I'm gonna make my exit here, but I appreciate you guys. Shout out to everyone in the chat. People have been going crazy. Pond Puppies, Mick, Sunny G, George Seclidia, of course. Jody P was up in here earlier. Platinum Obfuscrape 8163 to Platypus. As always, Mick, yes, smart person with the Baskin Robbins betta fish species. Holy, I think I said pond puppies. A couple of fish coming through my blacklisted from Malaysian brother. Fish NJ, appreciate you. Miwan Ku MK, appreciate you coming through. Lots of great chats from you. Good. Listen, you got to drop the stripping tutorial. Everyone out here is jorking bitterlings, and I don't want to be left behind. Jacob, of course, appreciate you. Featherfin Films coming through, as always. What a guy, what a guy. Savage Cichlids, Sutton Road Aquatics, of course. And shit, I'm scrolling up, and I'm just trying to... you guys have been yapping, so it's hard for me to read a bunch of different names. Barbara Jackson, appreciate you as well. Coming in, Moneyless Maven, shout out to you. And if I haven't said your name yet, throw something in the chat, because I just scrolled up all the way that I can. I know a couple other people have been through that I didn't read, but my brain is fried. Sunny says, great live stream. Appreciate you. Killifish Cult, Week's hardest working co-host. Oh shit, is Week the hardest working co-host? His competition has got to be Mexicali or Corey. Corey's Little Brown Frogs. It's got to be the competitors for hardest working co-host, right? Weeks knocked out the park first time though. I'm not gonna lie. We be yapping. We could have yapped up here forever, but another stream. If you want Weeks to come on, leave a comment again so I can pressure him and be like, hey, look, they're all demanding. Toplatypus said 2 streams on a Monday, and I was able to catch part of both. Let's go. Yeah, if you missed it earlier, we did an Aquabid. We did an Aquabid stream about the changes. And it's kind of funny because someone messaged me like, yo, you should do a stream about Aquabid. I haven't had a chance to respond yet, but I'm like, yo, I already did earlier today. Come on! Hardest working up in here. I'm hyped up right now. So let's leave on a high note. Appreciate you. Be back soon. This has been In My Tanks and Matthew Weeks, and I am absolutely positively out.